AskGunQuestions.com is a website that we built back in 2007, and since then, for the last 15 years, people have been able to ask questions of simple to advanced nature, and we attempt to answer them in different ways over the years. Join us now as we start a new series to answer gun questions.
Hey, everybody, to our show. We go live every Saturday. Tony joins us from New Jersey. Oh, pretty much every Saturday. We go live to answer questions. Any questions you might have, ask them live or jump over to the website and we'll go to a big database over there and answer them. That reminds me, I don't remember the last time I looked at it, so I'll be looking over there and Tony tell us what's going on in his side of the country.
Hey, glad to be here. Glad to be here. Just had a diversity shoot Thursday. That was really cool.
Saw some of the posts from it.
What was that?
Seen some of the posts.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So what happened was we have a new. We actually have our first coffee sponsor called the American Roaster. They like to call themselves the America's Second Amendment Coffee Company, and of course they have the roast called 1791, and that's their medium roast. And they have True Freedom, which is their dark roast. And what he's doing is just sending me some of these so I could have raffle items to help raise money for what we do. So it's easier for him to send product than donate money. And that works for me because it just gives me something to give to people so they can actually raffle. And it's really great because it helps raise money for the food that I serve at each one of the events. We shoot in Lakewood, New Jersey. Lakewood, New Jersey is a huge Orthodox Jewish place. I don't know how to say that, but anyway. So what they do is order kosher food for the events, and I usually supplement it by ordering food that I enjoy. So they ordered that, and I ordered some buffalo wings, and people had a great time. But usually at these events, I pay for everything, and it's usually like $150 to $200 worth of pizza alone. Plus, I provide the ammo for the events. So if anybody can help, donations is great. And they decided that the way they can help is send some coffee, and that gives me raffle items to donate off. So that really helps. If you own a business, small business, it makes no difference. With something we can actually add to the pile, that'll be great. And of course, I'll post stuff to social media about you and your company. So if you know somebody that wants to get something started, got a startup, or just trying to get a product out there that's pro Second Amendment, hit me up, Tony@diversityshoot.com, and let me know what's going on, and I'll jump on it, man, and try to get something to help out whoever helps us out, because support those that support us. As my friend Anthony Calandro says on his podcast, the Gunfire Podcast, it's like help those to help us. Nothing wrong with that, because we don't have Bloomberg money. We only have each other. Oh, something cool though. If you're a gun guy, and I'm certain most of you guys are, Bull Armory has their Ultralight Pro, and they had a couple of those at the range, and the range decided that one of those was going to be a rental gun, and they took it out the case and pretty much gave it to us to use during a diversity shoot. So new shooters got to check out a gun that's $2,200 at no charge, other than getting a ticket for the event. And they got to run magazine after magazine through not only that firearm, but we had an M1 Garand on the line. And thank you, Jack Pyle, for donating the ammo after he passed. He donated his ammo to the diversity shoot, and his best friend Rosie, who's with Coalition of New Jersey Firearms Owners, and he's one of the volunteers at our event. He brought his M1, and we got to shoot that. So people got to fire that gun for the very first time if they never shot one, or they got to shoot one again, which was really great. So we had an M1 Garand online. We had this brand new Bull Armory online. One of my guys brought a AR that he built with Timber Creek Furniture, Timber Creek Outdoors. So it's all yellow. Call it the Bumblebee, and it fires 50 Beowulf. So, and then of course we had 9mm 22s. We had 357 Magnum on the line. We had my Henry, Big Boy Steel. We even had a Marlin lever action 357 Magnum, and we had probably a Marlin 336 in 3030. And those are just a few of the guns. I think we had 5 ports, and each of my guys brought at least 4 guns per port. And you got to shoot all of those. Didn't have to pay anything extra for the entry price of $40. So I think that's pretty cool. And you can also see why we need support, because that's a lot of money going down
Did
range.
you say how many people showed up?
What was that?
You say how many people showed up?
Oh, we had a dozen people, and then we had a couple of walk-ins. So we had like 14 shooters there. A lot of them were new. A couple of guys had only been to, one guy had been to 3 events. Another guy, this was his second event, and they brought a friend. And that was like a new group. And then we had a husband and wife. She actually works at the range, but never's been, and she brought her husband out. So that was really cool. And the thing is, not only to get them to pull triggers, all right, so we're introducing people to firearms that never had one, but also people that already own guns. Hey, there's a crap ton of guns here for you to try out, and here's a range and a gun shop that's friendly towards actual Second Amendment advocacy, which, if you don't know, everybody in the firearms business is not and does not support Second Amendment advocacy. And I know that might make some people's heads explode, but it's the truth. And then also we want to introduce people to Second Amendment advocacy organizations at the start of their journey into firearms. And also I introduced them to U.S. Law Shield, which is the only quote unquote self-defense insurance allowed in New Jersey. And it's not about using the self-defense insurance because you're going to use it to, help yourself if you get into a self-defense situation, but U.S. Law Shield actually answers your questions. So if you're a member, you can call their non-emergency number and leave a message asking whatever firearms related question, legal question you can think of, and you'll get a call back. If not from a lawyer will answer it, and you'll get a call back from them with an actual answer in reference to the law and what's legal where you are, because they're actual attorneys that specialize in firearms and self-defense and armed self-defense. And that's much better than your brother-in-law that's an insurance attorney or the real estate attorney. You actually have people that defend innocent people, regular gun owners like you and I, and not felons, because there's a different viewpoint when it comes to armed self-defense. If you're only representing felons, yeah, you can take a hit and take a lesser felony, but as us, no, we don't want that on our records because that affects our lives. So there's a different in perception of how to handle a case when it's to deal with, I guess, responsible armed citizens.
It's interesting. I've never heard of that before, but that is a good point, because a public defender is going to be mostly defending or have experience defending people probably guilty, and then just trying different tactics to lessen their sentencing, right? Or like that kind of thing. At least they don't have the same tools and stuff. They're not looking at the same laws as reference and stuff, because they're dealing with a person who's either guilty or maybe in circumstances that aren't as being attacked or whatever. Where a defense attorney who works predominantly with victims, essentially, right? Like then the victims who defended themselves specifically, I guess, right? Makes a difference. I was going to say there's a difference between calling it self-defense insurance and carry insurance, because I think one, it's not just for self-defense, but also it gives that impression that you got the insurance just to pay for the bills after you've used a firearm or whatever. But it's probably still useful, at least some of them. I'm trying to remember all the different things that they cover. Not all of them cover everything or whatever. But if you're just carrying and traveling or something, or at an airport or at a at a gas station or something if something comes up, because that's what I'm saying is it doesn't always have to be like a discharge of a firearm. It can be
Mhm.
random things. It could just be the situations that come up in life as a person who carries um, those services might be useful for people. I
I mean,
shit
I'm
on
not
most
gonna.
of the time, but at the same time, $30 a month sometimes, like some for most of them,
Yep.
and
Hmm.
for the peace of mind and for like you're saying access. Um, and then the better ones, I don't like any of them now. I used to like
Yeah.
the Armed Citizens, what was it called? Legal Defense Fund or something. But now that it's gone, they're all just different versions of different things. But anyway, they give you different perks or different um,
So
extras or whatever. And it's hard to call them extras because the better ones would include training as part of it. So they would say, and I'm not talking about USCCA, I'm talking about the better ones that were older
mhm.
that don't exist anymore. They would say, look, we're not going to, nobody can protect you from bad things. And you can't live in some delusion that if you learn how to not go into a bad neighborhood, you'll never have a problem either. Because that, for one, bad people leave bad neighborhoods. It's ridiculous to act like if you don't go to a bad neighborhood, you won't have anything bad happen to you. Like that's delusional. So, in reality, you want to be somehow balance your whatever your like alert and your um, your how much effort you're putting into learning defense or whatever. And they would say, so a good way to balance this or leverage it would be to learn a bunch of stuff so that you're as confident as possible, and then have some money for you available. But then essentially their tactics were to educate the jury of your peers to go into court with competent expert witnesses and be beneficial or useful for you as a defendant. So they did a lot more than just provide an attorney because they were competent in this whole thing, coming from attorneys and police and expert witnesses and whatever backgrounds. But nowadays they're more, they don't factor so much in the training and that aspect of it as much as just the insurance and what they what they offer versus what the others offer. And then it turns into a big race of like, we have a $500 maximum. Oh,
Mhm.
we have a $200 maximum or something. Or we do count if you, are carrying open carry, or we only cover if you're carrying, discreetly or something. Like they get into the nuances of like the little bickering between them. And then you get the lawyers now that are like basically
So
prepaid lawyers or something. So anyway, I don't like it.
So I look at it like this. I stopped studying these people because I didn't think I'd have anything to do with them. And then I stopped. I didn't study any further when I found out I could not have anyone else on our side in
They
the state
all
of New
basically
Jersey.
abandoned New Jersey. Yeah, none of them
Yeah,
wanted to work in
so
New Jersey.
so the one I paid attention to is the one that's obviously working with me. So instead of having like you and your wife are covered, I think it's a minimum. It's not double, you know what I mean? It's like an extra $20 a year or something like that. Your spouse is covered. So you don't have to have separate policies. So
Right.
that to me is a good thing. Um, and I mean, truthfully, listen, most of us will never use it, so they know they're getting free money. So covering your spouse for an additional $20, whatever, bro.
Well, and it
Because
gets into weird stuff like, well, the gun was in the console and you both had access to it, and right, so then it gets weird.
so my whole thing is this. This is the one I know about. You can study them and check them out. I just know this is the one that can actually help me in the state of New Jersey. And if you choose not to get it because you live elsewhere, great. But if you want to use it, 2A4E is my code, and I get $30. I think it's $30 if you sign up. Uh, that's fine. I mean, I went a year or two without knowing even that that was available, and I just used the codes that the rangers I worked with. And then we have a gentleman's agreement. Oh, not even a handshake. Just hey, if I get someone to join during my event, can I use my code? And they were like, no problem. So I'm good to go. So they didn't see as me trying to poach anybody from them, especially since I started out for 2 friggin' years giving their code. So they know and they work with me, and they're giving up a classroom in a state that has, they could fill that classroom with students on the Thursday that they have it for me for 3 hours. And instead they give it to us. And again, I'm not a 501c3 yet. Just started a conversation with. the lawyer that works for the Coalition of New Jersey Firearm Owners, and he's actually going to help me. But all I know now is we've been introduced online, and he follows me on social media. So he knows what we do. He knows about our mission. So that works for me because that's one of the harder things to do is find people that actually know that this is not something I'm doing for profit to make money. I try to keep the prices as low as possible just so more people can enjoy it. So once they understand that, I think they're more prone to realize I'm not turning this into a cash cow. I just want to be here and effective for the long term. So I'm doing whatever needs to be done so we can be around. And It's pretty good for me. It's good news, right? Thursday was a great day because we shoot early. Usually we film content, but they were actually busy with one of their models that they'd hired. So I had some free time and I checked out my emails.
You're gonna do the like laying down on the table with the snake going up around you, and you're holding a
Oh
pistol.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, Britney Spears thing. Yeah, I was going to do that, but luckily the snake was sick. No, but they had somebody else there, so I just checked out my emails. As I'm checking my emails, I get a email from NRA asking me, "Am I available, and do I want to continue working with them at the Voices of the Second Amendment at the NRA convention in Atlanta?" And I answered yes. I 100% want to be a part of that. So they were like, "Good to go. You're in." So I'm going to have another booth on Media Row.
That's next year or what?
Yeah, in 2027. So it's already in April 2022. I'll see you guys in Atlanta. Come by Media Row and see me, and I'll have 2A4E. I really want to have something to sell out there, but I know if I have hats, people will think they're for free. So I'm going to have to make something else up, you know what I mean, to get people to actually give us money. I may have a friend of mine 3D print some keychains, and he'll do that, and you can throw in $1 or $2 and have a keychain, and that'll help a little bit. But I want to have bigger items, something for people. I'll figure out what the heck it is. I don't know, because I'm driving down to Atlanta, so I can probably bring stuff with me, and it's just to be things that you have to pay for, like a tumbler or something with our logo and what the money goes to. Just something different, not, you know what I mean? Because everybody gives hats away or patches away, and if people see them on the table, they'll just snatch them up and go. But if you have something like a decent quality tumbler, not the little plastic friggin' crap ones that they have, I feel people would probably be more prone to give me, I don't know, $25 for them because I think they cost like 12. I bought some before from Amazon, but again, I want decent ones. I don't want garbage stuff. Even when I start selling T-shirts, they're going to be decent shirts. I because I hate garbage T-shirts used for promotion. I'll just tell me to cut it up in strips and use it to wash my car.
Well, and then the whole point of it is for somebody to wear it doing something cool, or to wear it, in pictures or something, or
Hmm.
wear it around to different events and stuff. So yeah, if it starts to fall apart, the people who have them aren't going to wear them more than a few times, right? So
Yeah, because I've had
very
them
few
show up.
people are gonna, like, hold on to a delicate shirt and then wear it important times. They're going to wear it a couple of times, find out it's delicate, either destroy it or throw it, quit wearing it.
Yeah, so that doesn't help. I mean, I don't look at it as just a way to make money. I look at it as a statement. That's why my logo has nothing to do with firearms. 2A4E is all it says, diversityshoot.com. Like, you really have to read it and then be willing to have the conversation. If I had something like crossed rifles or something on it, all of a sudden it's a gun shirt and people might come at you way harder and not with an open mind. So this, you'll be at the bakery minding your business, and they were like, "Hey, it's a pretty cool logo. What's it mean?" And you can actually have a conversation without starting off with animosity or their preconceived notion of what you're going to say.
Speaking
That
of
was
preconceived notions, you were talking about that Bull Armory Ultralight earlier. So is this
Mhm.
this is a double stack 9mm 1911 looking thing?
Double stack 9mm 1911 looking thing with 6 holes drilled in it. It's porting, also the cutout, obviously, and the slide for it. It takes a RMSC red dot, and it
Well, that's
also
what I was
has
going
a
to ask. It's got a plate on top or whatever. And I was going to ask, what was that like from the factory like that, or that's what the
Yeah.
shop decided to put on it, or what?
Nope, that was from the factory, and this particular one has a rear sight already on it, factory rear sight. But to put the red dot on, you lose the rear sight. Don't think it's cool, but truthfully, in 2026, any quality red dot, even a Gideon priced red dot, will work and hold up to regular use. If you're going to be one of those people that slams it in the walls to see if it racks, one, you're an idiot if you're going to do that with your defensive tool. But it should hold up. Red dots now are pretty good. Even the ones that aren't, the top name brand ones are still pretty good as long as you spend a reasonable amount of money on it. And I think pretty much the reasonable cutoff for a red dot for a handgun is probably between what 250, 350, which is half the price of an aim point. Half or a third of the price of an aim point. Oh,
I was
and
just curious.
it also has the hammer cut down.
Maybe.
They got rid of it.
They bobbed the hammer or whatever they call it.
Yeah, pretty much they bobbed it. That was the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
They shaved it till it's gone. I mean, it's there.
Yeah,
there's
but you
no
can't
no
pull it
snagging.
that single action.
Yep. And truthfully, you rack it at single action. So
That's
I
good.
mean, I find it funny though. It's like congratulations, but it's still well. The thing is, when it's cocked all the way back, it settles into the beaver tail, so it's not really going to hang up.
Now, what happens when you put it on safe then?
You put it on safe, it blocks.
It's like a 1911 safe, so it's coming up from 100%. The frame into the slide. Okay.
Yep. I didn't check and see if it had a magazine disconnect. Probably does not. It has a smooth trigger. To me, I mean, I'll go ahead and tell you, my guys were loading it up, and it's freaking got an insert to limit it to 10 rounds, and that was kind of wonky. We weren't impressed by that part. And luckily, if you live in a free state, you won't have to deal with that. Because it's small, it actually has a slightly shorter frame than my Glock 19, but it also has a built-in magwell. So it has like all of the features you want with a modern, defensive pistol. And again, the MSRP is $21.99. But of course, you can probably find it less than that. And if you live in Jersey, they have them at We Shoot. So if you want to pick one up, they're definitely at We Shoot in New Jersey. One of the harder things about Bull Armor is they don't have a lot of distributors or a lot of people to carry it. So if you want to check it out, you can go rent it at We Shoot, shoot it, and find out if you dig it or not.
You found when any of the drama was staccato?
Without any of the drama from staccato, and pretty much I always thought staccato was overrated when they switched up and came out as staccato. Actually, right before that, they got purchased by new people as STI.
Were they Para and then STI, or am I crazy?
No. Totally different companies. Para was a Canadian company, and they came across the border, southern North Carolina, started lifting up.
Para made a double stack back in the olden days.
Para made a double stack during the friggin' M9 trials. Yeah. They made the double stack frame. They didn't make the whole pistol, and they were like, all you need is to slide the barrel, and you can use it for this. And of course, the military was not interested because they wanted to go to 9mm. And so instead of dying on the vine, they just went to, civilian firearms ownership, and they took off, which is really great. Two guys started a company, and it kind of worked out until they got to the States and other people got involved, and then they kind of sucked.
That's Para, and that's another topic. I was kind of
whole other topic.
Mixing them up.
So, STI used to be with another SVI. Anyway, they split up. One became Infinity, and the other one stayed there because they one part only wanted to do high-end race guns, and the other one wanted to do entry-level guns and maybe even carry guns, but mostly entry-level prices. So that was one of the reasons I heard there was a split, because they wanted to go in different directions. So one went high-end, and the other one went entry-level for 2011 prices. They went entry level, and then they had someone new purchased them that had military law enforcement background. They decided they were going to try to go mainstream and cater to military law enforcement. and they pivoted, and then they decided to change to their number one seller, which was the Staccato, because the Staccato was just a model number, much like Dodge had Ram, and now you have Ram. It's called Ram trucks. Well, this is Staccato, and they have different models under Staccato. And then they got sold again, and that's what causing this drama right now, because they looked at it as a big business and they shifted, and the industry doesn't like it because the industry has a hell of a lot more options now. So congratulations, you picked the wrong time to change your business practice, and there's a lot of stink on it because people have way more options. If they want more expensive guns, they have a lot more companies selling 2011 type handguns. And if they want less expensive guns, they got companies that pretty much start in the $600 or $700 with a double stack 1911.
Would you say, and this is something that a lot of people ain't going to be able to answer, I don't think. So I don't know if you can, but would you, if you can answer, would you say that Staccato, STI Staccato, it was like a shoehorn or like a wedge, like like a wedge in wood? Like, did they wedge their way in and create the market for these guns that cost, well, a double stack 9 millimeters in 1911 bodies? But the main thing that I'm asking about, that form factor that cost $2,000, did they force that in? Like, it didn't need to exist, but because they made it, now everyone decided they needed it? Or was it like a thirst that was going to be quenched by somebody at some point, and they were the first
hell
ones
no.
to get in?
Hell no. No. Okay. Because some people want to give them credit. No, what they did was they created that through marketing and the sycophants that will do anything for a free gun on the internet. So understand, I've been around a long time, right? And I've been in this since 2015. Like, in the industry, as a podcaster, as someone going to the shows, as someone that's reading this stuff that comes in. When they changed directions and went for the law enforcement thing, they knew if you can market it to the law enforcement and then get people to know, civilians buy the guns, law enforcement gets issued, and they love new stuff. All you have to do is roll back to 2015 when everybody was saying that the 1911 is antiquated. All your favorite tactical gurus said the 1911 was antiquated. Antiquated. There's much better things. Striker fired, and they were running around going Google Gaga over agency arms, Glocks. That was the thing then. Once STI became Staccato and pushed it, they hooked up with all of these influencers on some of your favorite people that you love and trust, and they paid them money and gave them guns, and then they were all of a sudden praising this thing like it was new. The Staccato 2011 is not even the best 2011 whatsoever.
You don't really got to even give anybody any money. You just got to give them a gun that's super hard to get. And then
for
all of
free.
a sudden everybody wants to hear about it, and they make money because they got that gun. And that creates, I never thought about. Well, I guess what I was really asking was, like, did a $3,000 double stack 1911 9mm need to exist, or did they wish it into being? And then I guess you're saying they did defer, whatever, they wish it into being. But I'm wondering, then the follow-up is, could that have happened without the internet and the timing? Because it also happened, they changed their name in 2020. So it happened at a time when everybody decided, I'm going to buy a gun. And I have no idea what a gun costs. This is the first time I'm buying a gun as an adult. I got all the money I need. Oh, a gun costs $2,000? Like, okay. Like, I don't have any idea, so I'm just going to buy a gun. Like, do you think that could have happened in 2015 or some other time? Could they have forced their way in and done that at a different time?
They could have used the exact same marketing, because a lot of people did, and it would have worked out like others, some hit or miss. It would have either worked or it wouldn't have, or it worked slowly. Then when you had a market that had a super influx, a historical influx of people purchasing firearms for the first time in every category, in every demographic, people were doing it. So they weren't like many of us. These were people that were buying their first gun in their 30s, 40s, and 50s and older that had money. They weren't us scraping together lawn care money to buy their first handgun. So now everywhere you went, people were shooting Scotto and telling you how awesome it was, and you have the money to actually buy this staccato because to you, you don't know how much guns cost. If a used car knockaround costs $15,000, you think, yeah, the best double stack pistol costing 2,000 is or 3,000 is a bargain. Yeah, I'll buy it. So
Well,
it
even
happened.
if you go to the store and you see a $700 gun and you go, that must be a medium gun because my gun costs 2,000, and there's guns here that cost 100. Those are garbage. You know, those are basic like toys or something. Like they're the bottom. Mine's a 2,000. So yeah, they just think their $700 gun in front of a $900 gun is a medium gun. They don't care. It's just a SIG or something. Just an HK. I've heard of those.
Now, Tony, you sound bitter. Now, I'm just a little annoyed because a lot of people weren't educated on it. And also the fact that I was saying that a 1911 is still a decent gun, even back then. 1911 never stopped doing what 1911 does. All right, all the positive attributes of a 1911 never changed. It was a 9mm. The first 9mm 1911 was done in 1949 by Colt. So it's not new. Double stack 1911s have been around since Para. And then after that, Rock Island. And it was available in 945 and 357 SIG. So these things have always been around. 2020 wasn't new. But there are a lot of people that just get into firearms. Many of the creators are just seeing it for the first time. And of course, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread because they were told that. Meanwhile, you could have bought any of those things and for significantly less money. And they were always double stack hammer fired 1911s, just most of them were available in double action, single action. But to me, in my personal opinion, even the CZ75 is a better deal than getting a freaking double stack staccato because they had problems with their magazines feeding anyway for a significant amount of time. And their magazines were $100 each. To me, it's a good gun for competition, and it took a long time to become a good carry gun. And in all those times and all that money spent and everything that went on, you could have gotten, a much better carry gun that didn't have these teething problems and actually take classes and put rounds through the gun for the same price you bought this $3,000 monstrosity.
Trying to share the screen if I can find. I was putting up my videos from goals, and I can't remember. I think we talked about it. I'm pretty sure we talked about it on air because we just, odds are we talked about it on air because there's a possibility we talked about it off here, but we mostly talk on air, I think. But, the time we talk, spend talking to each other. But I was thinking about the table. I just posted a video, but I think I posted it to be scheduled for next week, so I can't find it to show it here. But I found a video, I guess I should say, of the table that was from something. Was it like Eagle Creek or Bull Creek Armory or something like that? Wolf Creek Armory, maybe. And anyway, they had these really expensive 1911s. And one of the reasons, so that's fresh in my mind. I was just posting videos on Facebook before the show. And like I said, I edited or whatever, didn't edit shit. I just posted the video of me shooting I think a $12,000 9mm 1911. And, I don't, here's the thing, people that don't, if I don't say this enough for people that don't pay attention, when I go to these shows, I usually review the show, and then to some extent I hang out with people, but I don't try to keep contacts in the olden days or anything, when I thought it was neat to know everybody at every company. So I know people and I say hey to them or whatever. It's not like a recluse, but I'm also not running around trying to make friends at these events that I go to. What I'm really trying to do is just cover the event for the viewers who come to our channel or my channel for coverage of the events, because I've been going to these events for a long time, and I like to show people what the event's like a little bit, because the events sometimes will do a good job of that, and there are some events that really do a good job. Other events don't even think about it. They just, for whatever reason, don't think about doing it behind the scenes or show people the event itself. They just do the event for the people at the event, and that's fine. I'm not really judging it, but it's just because that was always the thing about SHOT Show. When I started going to SHOT Show back in the day, everybody acted like it was some behind the scenes, like, oh my goodness, SHOT Show. I like to always reveal that if I can, like the stuff that's revealable. There's things that you're not supposed to talk about, maybe military stuff or something like that, or something that they ask not to talk about. I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. But aside from, private proprietary stuff, I guess, I just like to show the shows. So I don't go shoot very often. And it's been a while because guns don't change that much. And, even a new, what are they going to make, a new caliber? Like 5.7, I guess, was a little bit different. And have I shot the 30 carbine? No,
So
30 carbine. What's it called? The 30 super carry or whatever?
30 super carry. Yep.
Anyway, I don't shoot a lot of guns. So this Goals was the first time I actually pulled triggers in a long time.
So you were shooting. I love it. You're trying to think of it. King River Customs.
Thanks. That's what it is. Did you remember that table where they had the 4 really nice 1911s?
Oh, baby, I got pictures of it, and I should have video of me shooting it.
Now, they make them and they're good metal, first off, and they're Nighthawks. I mean, I don't think they may customize them, but they're Nighthawk 1911s. So they're made by one gunsmith, one gun, or whatever, one gunsmith type of one. They're really well made. But they also are like the coatings and stuff on them are top notch, and all that stuff costs money. But they look amazing. Like I'll give them that. Like these guns look cool, just because you think about it. Like, man, it's like a knife, I guess, or like a car, or a watch. I think is another good example. Like you got to wear a watch. It's like intimately, part of your whatever, like your carry stuff. You're gonna have it. You're gonna be looking at it all the time. It's on your body all the time. Other people are gonna see it. They associate it with you or whatever. So people spend money on their watches, I guess. For that reason. At least I can understand it. I don't. People, same thing with clothes, I suppose, right? Like all these kind of things that people want to buy that you can appreciate. And that's one of those things, like you can appreciate that they put a lot of effort into this. It's got a good design. It's well made, but then they're super reliable. Like they also didn't skimp on like the engineering of it. Like it's a very well made gun. They're dependable. They run, and then they look really cool. That being said, they're at another level. We're talking about what we were talking about, staccatos, which cost a couple of grand. These started like $9,000, and I think the most expensive one was like 16 or 12 or something.
I think I shot the cheap one at $7,800.
Yeah, which is they all shoot amazing. We're not saying that.
Oh, 100%. This is not your EDC. This is your barbecue gun. This is an investment piece. This is a gun you can run, but just like a freaking $3,000 pocket knife. You're not buying that because, you're going to get stranded in the woods one day and have to spark up a fire. You know what I mean? No, you got that because of what it is. And this is what these are. And I'm good with that. They're not trying to act like they're anything else. And of course, one of the guys there supports and knows about us and was like, look, I'll help you anywhere I can. But pretty much you're not going to get one of our guns. And I totally get that. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, cool.
Sure.
I mean, you're not getting a handmade
but at the same
custom
time,
gun.
They sound like they're pretty proud that like some of those guns went through pretty extensive round count courses and prestigious courses like on the ranch and stuff. So yeah, I could see them sending you a gun or having somebody with a gun show up and run it at a class or show it stuff, because that's
maybe I should ask
the $12,000 gun.
And that works for me too. I mean, truthfully.
Because really, that's what they wanted to see. They wanted to show off to people and let people know. Because it's like having a super nice car. Maybe that's not what I say. Like a super nice motorcycle, right? You're not going to drive it to work every day. But whenever you want to do something fancy, like your barbecue, yeah, that's when you're driving it. Because it's capable. Like you can drive it.
Yeah, so I'm cool with it all. The only thing that annoyed me was the marketing, and it's of Staccato, of STI, and it's not even their fault. They're doing what they do. This latest thing, yeah, okay, that's their fault, and people can handle it however they want. The marketing annoys me because unlike marketing a vehicle, which this is the greatest thing ever. The difference between this and last year's model is this beautiful design feature. This is something people depend their lives on, and running around blowing smoke up their butt about a defensive firearm or a tool or self-defense tool to me is not cool. But companies are going to company. That's their thing. Do what you want, but don't look at some of these gun tubers as being honest. They're in business with these companies to get paid and to advertise what they're told to advertise. Pay attention to what who are you looking at. I mean, we have people that are firearms owners and have been for a long time in our chat. But there are others that they're just getting into this and they're like, oh, I like, and I would say some names, but it'll probably cause fights in the chat, or people going to disagree with me. But there are big people in the industry that could give two damns if they were selling firearms or freaking rims on a car. They do the same
Yeah.
exact thing.
Same tactics, same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say it's not, since we're bitching or griping, I guess, really.
Yeah.
It's not always people getting paid either. That's what's halfway annoying, is that a lot of times it's just people looking to make friends or looking, hopefully, trying to get paid in the future, or like do something that can get them seen. So, you know what I mean? So like they're doing it for free, basically. But yeah, they'll never say anything bad about something that they get their hands on. They don't have to necessarily be given the gun or get
True.
paid to do it, is all I'm getting at. Yeah. It's worse when you're getting paid to do it. I'm not talking about that, but that's been a situation since literally the beginning of this whole thing. I mean, the whole thing started with What's His Face, FPS Russia, and Nothing Fancy. Russia guy was, what's the word, like controversial because he was a dick. Like the first time I seen one of his videos, he was shooting a tree. I'm like, what a dick. Like, what kind of dickhead shoots a tree? Like, just puts a target up on a tree and starts shooting a tree? Like, that's just a dick move. You know what I mean? Maybe a dead post or something. No problem. Who gives a shit? But one, there's no backstop. It's just a tree in a field. And two, it's a live tree. Like, what the hell? What's the point of destroying a tree? Even if it's on your own property, it's just a dick move. So, and that was back in what, 2000? Was that even 2000? Yeah, it must have been 2000. Like, whatever years that guy was around. Early 2008 or something, probably 2009, whatever. No, I guess it would have been 2009, 2010. I don't know. It was a long time ago. But anyway, when that was the first time I seen the guy was doing something like that. And then beyond that, he was doing just shit to get a rise out of people. And half of it was to get a rise out of gun owners, I think, because he figured out probably real quick that when he shot that tree, like people like me would go, this is the early internet. We didn't know about trolling and shit like that. So we'd be like, I wouldn't shoot a tree. That's a bad move. Like, makes us look bad, or like, it's just mean to the tree. Like, why kill a tree? All the different things people are going to say. He probably figured out because he wasn't stupid. Like, oh snap! If I do something Yahoo, dumbass in front of everybody, the gun owners are going to come up and lecture me, and then all the other people are going to be like, either, aha, you pissed off gun owners, which they wanted to do, but they weren't able to, or just they don't give a shit and they're just like, aha, it's cool, like you blew up something or you shot a watermelon off the top of that donkey or something, because he was doing dumbass weird shit just to do it.
Almost
and then
freaking killed himself blowing up the truck.
Was that one of his things, like blowing up some tannerite or whatever?
He blew up the tannerite in the truck, and the door almost, or refrigerator, and the door almost took him out.
I mean, that was early internet shit, so I didn't even know it was that guy. But yeah, that kind of dumbass shit. And then Nothing Fancy was just doing his thing and was massive, made a lot of views or whatever, huge channel. I don't think he started getting paid until after a while. So all the concern at the beginning was basically the FPS Russia guy came from video games, so he did figure out how to get paid right off the bat. But then, and he kind of introduced all the gun people, or at least most of the gun people, into how to get paid. Brought all the video game agents over and stuff. That was like 2012, I guess. Anyhow, that was the olden days, and so anyway, we've never had no controversy in YouTube gun people. Like, we've always been able to point and bitch and have like an audience of people that were like, I don't like the way this people are doing, like a whole other audience of people going, oh no, we're going to sit over here and like what these people are doing, but hate that you have an opinion about it and this kind of shit. And then then there's the people that clutch their pearls to each other.
Yeah. So my whole issue is this. There've always been bickering and bullcrap like this in the firearms community, including gatekeeping. I mean, hey, back when we were kids and reading all the magazines we could get our dirty little hands on, heck, there were AR-15 people versus, there was modern sporting rifle people versus traditionalists that go, why would you need one of those? And then there were AR people versus AK people and SKS people. Like there was always something. Oh, it's Mexican carry versus smaller the back carry. All of that stuff was a thing. Nothing's changed except we have the ability to add moving pictures to it.
Yeah, I think basically. Oh, I don't know. Have you heard? When did I hear about this? I think I heard about it last week that Facebook had to go defend themselves against like the idea that they made their shit addictive, especially to kids, like their whole platform. Have you seen any of that happening, like at the national level? So that'd be interesting. Like I didn't care enough to follow it, obviously, because that was last week. I think I heard about it, but it sounds like they're being held to task at the like taking them to Congress and whatever, deciding about making laws about this.
Nice.
And about these, well, Facebook, I guess specifically, but I guess that would apply to all of them. And that's interesting because I don't want the government to have any kind of touch on the internet. I'd rather have less than more government interference. But it sounds like at some point they're going to decide, for the greater good or for the safety and blah, 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 they're going to implement something out in public. Obviously, all the people that want to talk about behind the scenes are going to talk about the happened during whatever, was it 20 when they told them like Facebook what to do, and Facebook was like, yes sir, we'll do exactly what you want. And now it came out, like I know that has happened, but assuming that doesn't happen moving forward, people will eventually probably, I don't know, am I wrong? Am I being fatalist? Like, will people eventually give in to like, yeah, let's have regulation on the internet, either for the children or for the safety or for something?
Yeah, whatever, dude. You know what? Who should be there for the children? Their freaking parents.
Good point. But then they go, okay, good point. But then the children who don't have parents, like the children that are wards of the state, the children that are in circumstances where they're just left without children, then. But again, I think, go ahead.
No, the children that are wards of the state don't have cell phones.
That's a good point. Like they're probably not on Facebook.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that he also an answer to that, because that's going to the extremes, right? As soon as somebody says something, people take it to the extremes, then I like to come back to that kind of thing with why is the government the only option? Why can't churches? People hate to hear that, but there can be all kinds of churches. Like you can have the church of spaghetti. We have a country that allows a lot of religion. As long as you're okay with that, then why can't civic organizations, fraternal organizations, I don't know what to call all these things that are like benevolent organizations of people that get together. But as soon as you let people, or as soon as I think if you tell people there's a concern or there's an issue, you're going to find, especially with the internet, as large as our country is, you can find people who are compassionate enough to have concern to get together and do something to solve it. And if you just let them, like fucking let them, and I don't know what you want to call it, but it's one point you would have depended on the church for that, not necessarily because the church is the only one that could do it, but I think they were the infrastructures that could do it, and they had the resources, so they did it, and they also didn't wait and ask anybody. A lot of times churches just do shit, and if somebody was sick or whatever, but then you get to like the mentally ill and stuff, and then I don't know what you do. I'm not saying there's easy answers, and I don't know what you call I've seen a lot of stuff lately about the homeless, where they're not homeless or without homes for choice or because of some kind of dependency issue or mental illness or whatever. And then how do you, or I guess where are there examples of, again, all the organizations I'm trying to describe being able to solve stuff so that there can be like some challenge to like this concept that the government is the only one that can solve these big issues or these societal issues. Because I think it's more like once societies, I don't know what to call them, like systems were removed that did take care of these things, then it fell on government. And I'm not enough of a scholar. I just suspect that some of that shit was done in that order. Like, let's get rid of shit, then it defaults to government. Guess what? Now I get my job forever because government's in charge of this now. I can't prove that. I just feel like that's what happened.
Yep, I agree. And that's one of the problems. Almost what my partner told me. Anytime you hear the government said they're going to remove corruption from something, brace yourself for more corruption and more money being spent. So when the government gets involved, it's not always a good thing, and it's better for the people to stand up and make changes themselves and demand better from companies. But it is what it is. You have a bunch of people in government that didn't even understand how Facebook worked in the first place. So how are they going to police it now?
Well, it's interesting too because again, exactly like how could they know? Especially because Facebook ain't going to tell anybody how it actually works. They couldn't. It would take decade. It'd take a long time to explain to people who knew what was up how Facebook actually works, right? So to expect representatives to do it in the time they're in office is not possible. So yeah, maybe they're not even the best. We shouldn't be looking to them in the first place because they're not even capable. Like they're not the best to do that. I put something in here earlier. I wanted to go back to. I think I said self-defense versus carry. I already did do that, but I was actually earlier went through and opened up the spreadsheet where we keep all the questions that have come into the website. I haven't been to the website in a while. I'm assuming the website still works because we still have questions that came in up to like 11 days ago. So let's answer some actual questions. We don't really have a hard stop today. I guess we didn't talk about it before the show, but we also try not to do marathon shows every week. So, but we're like an hour in. It's kind of like a warm up for us. This is like barely just getting stretched or whatever. An hour is nothing. But there is a lot of people watching right now. So thanks to everybody who's joining us live. It sounds like some of the people may have come and gone just by watching the numbers here. But if you're out there and you have a question, feel free to ask. We can answer any question. That's the thing. Between Tony and I, we have every single gun knowledge. I have all the gun knowledge. Like there was a piece or two that I was missing. There was a piece or two that he's missing. But together, we like bump fists and we have all the knowledge. So you can't even ask a question that we don't know the answer to. That being said, somebody said, can 380 auto ammunition be fired in a 38 caliber revolver?
Wait a minute, hold on.
Can 380 auto be fired in a 38 caliber revolver?
Okay. Hold on. So 32 ACP can be fired in, wait a minute, 38 long, 38 Colt, 38 special. So a 38 special can handle all those. I don't know about 380. I doubt it because it has no rim.
Well, that's the problem. Like physically, don't think 380 and 38 are exactly the same, but they're close enough for shoving into each other, right? I'm pretty sure 380 will fit into a 38 caliber cylinder, but it's going to slop all around because it can't head space off of nothing. It might go all the way forward and hit the rim, whatever it's called in the cylinder, where the normal 38 special cartridge would stop, or where it would head space. No, it doesn't have head space in there. They might be bored through cylinders for all I know. So that 380 might just slip and slide all through the cylinder because there's nothing up at the top to hold it. There's no rim on the case, so there's nothing in the cylinder that can hold it. Now, if you shot it straight up, like if you held the firing pin back or whatever and brought one of them up in a cylinder, would it go off and shoot down the thing and not do something weird and shave a bunch of lead off into your fingers or something? Like, I don't think I would ever try it. Maybe in a super emergency to like just cause an avalanche or signal a plane or something, but that's about it.
Yeah, you might want to get that Matebo you had back in the day. That might work.
Yeah, there's one gun that had a cylinder that had a little paperclippy looking thing, and it could hold some semi-auto rounds. So that might be the reason they're asking. They're probably just asking because they both have 38, and maybe they bought the wrong ammo or something. And that's happened to all of us. Here's what happens. If you go to the store and you accidentally buy 38 special and you own 380, or if you own 38 special and you accidentally buy 380, the remedy is to go to the store immediately and buy the gun for the ammo that you bought incorrectly. And then there's no issue because you already own the ammo for it. It was meant to be. So that's the answer.
We're not making this up. That's the only answer. It's written in the Bible in the red words.
Another gun in the caliber that you were deemed to buy it in. You just didn't realize you were buying it in a different order.
That's
But that happens all the time. You don't have to feel bad about that. So a similar one was, and it's not the same person, which is interesting, and it was like a month apart. Can a 38 caliber revolver shoot 38 special ammo? So,
38 caliber revolver.
Yeah, I mean, I think the answer is yes, obviously, but I think I can understand why somebody might answer that or ask that question because it's not obvious. When you go to the store, and Tony was already kind of doing it in his head, like how many types of ammo in 38 are there? If you go to a store out here in Tucson where there's a bunch of Old West stuff, so old guns, Old West stuff, used guns, people bring in their used junk and sell it to the store. I can think of a time when I saw 10 different 38s. And I'm not even crazy. 10 different 38s on the counter. And that's not all of them. Like I wouldn't be surprised if there's like 25 different things that have 30 calibers that have 38 in them. And I'm just thinking calibers. I'm not even thinking rifle calibers.
Yeah, I'm not even thinking about rifle because there's way too many of those. Just stopping at the 6.5 will make you lose your mind. 38 long, 38 Smith & Wesson, 38 Colt. All of those are real things. And then you got, of course, 38 Special, which is a longer version of all of those. And the 38 Special won't fit in guns made for those. And then you have, of course, you're going up to 357 Magnum, which is still a 38. And then you got 357 Maximum.
And then you got the 38 Magnum, 38 Special, but then like plus P, plus P. Like there's a whole bunch of different ways of putting pluses around 38 Special, which I don't know. Was that it wasn't really before 357. I think it was just in an era when the guns for 357 were so much bigger that they were like, what can we possibly get out of our little 357 guns without having to buy a bigger gun? I think, because it seems like this all happened in the 90s before everybody was even carrying. So I don't know why plus P plus happened, or did plus P plus all happen just because of the cops? I was aware of it for watching it in the magazines, but I wasn't paying attention to it much. These days when the plus P plus was an issue, like I remember going to the store, renting a gun or something, because I used to rent guns all the time. Holy crap, did I rent a lot of guns when I was a kid. When I figured out I knew you could go to a range and rent guns, but when I figured out I could make money, go to the range on my off time and rent whatever guns I wanted. And back in the day, I don't know, probably depending on the range, it's still like this. You'd pay like $7 or whatever, this was the old days, to rent a gun, but then you could shoot a box of ammo through it, come back out, buy another box of ammo, swap out the gun, because you were just renting, period. You weren't renting that gun, you were just renting from them. So I would come in and rent bunches of guns. I'd always shoot a 1911, and then I'd shoot a fancy 1911 because I liked stock 1911s, but I could appreciate, how much better you can shoot a nice 1911 back then. Anyway, I guess we have it's because of my Twitch. We've got a bot on the Twitch.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, every once in a while. They come out, they're easy. They must be easier to set up over there. Probably less useful because we only get like one per show.
Yeah, 38 Super. That's one of the things I haven't looked into, but I kind of dig. But look, I like firearms, but I've been saying that since I came into this, right? It's just I have to be able to feed them. So I thought 38 Super was not 38 Super, 30 Super Carry. I thought that was decent enough because you were still getting pretty much 115 grain 9mm results out of something that allowed you to squeeze 2 more rounds in the magazine. And to me, it had the same advantage as, 40 over 45, 40 Smith & Wesson over 45 ACP. But hey, some people didn't like it. It wasn't the time for that caliber and whatever, just like 357 SIG. Like that idea. I think they all served a purpose. Some hit, some didn't.
Well, 357 SIG and 45 Gap, I think both kind of happened at a time when like just before the internet, so at a time when like they didn't succeed because we didn't whatever like have a big enough response from police or the competitive shooters, which were the only things that could have made those calibers like live on at the time when they were introduced, I guess. But like 40, was also a similar one. I don't know what you'd consider 10 millimeter. But right, we've had these like over the years. Some of them were massive failures, some of them were successes. But I really thought Super Carry, or yeah, 30 Super, no, yeah, Super Carry, right? That's the new one. I thought Super Carry had a chance just because it came out from an actual manufacturer as opposed to, I don't know, like a Turkish company or like a Brazilian company where it would just immediately get like the side eye from a bunch of people. So it came out from like Federal or whatever, even if it would have come out from like Arms Corps or something, even though they're made in Utah, right? Like I think they make their ammo in Utah. Like they probably still get side eye from some people who are like whatever, gun purists or some shit. So it came out from like Federal, I think, and with the reason, right? Like because of all the stuff you just said, and because we were just talking about like there's $2,000 guns out there because people want more capacity, but it's also because they want something that's theirs, and if they can get something that's theirs that somebody will make for them, that's they don't have to get it custom made, then that's even better. And I really thought that Super Carry had a chance. I don't think so anymore, just because it has been a little while, and I don't see a massive surge in like second, third gun ownership. Mr. Knives has to take off there. Let's see, Mr. Knives.
Let one person stop an active shooter with a 30 Super Carry.
Well, that's a good point. Sort of like what just happened in Utah.
Yeah, all of a sudden people can't stop buying 5.7. Like people went nuts when Wilson, I forgot Wilson's first name, but the guy that stopped one of the shootings at the church in Texas.
You're right, yeah.
All of a sudden everybody was running around looking for 229s and 357 SIG.
And here's something else I'm not taking into effect. I don't know how this 30 Super Carry performs with suppressors, and I'm pretty sure if you look forward, we're going to be influenced heavily by suppressors going forward, and potentially.
Yeah, I think 45 ACP will be coming back.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Your Glock 20s, all of a sudden the price will be shooting up for Glock 20s with threaded barrels.
Exactly. I think so, at least. Where does 10 fall in suppression? It's got high pressure, so it's probably a big ass can.
Yeah, it'll be a big can and probably 220 grain rounds.
I wonder what'll happen with I don't know, we'll see. But I'm looking forward to that, and then it's on the topic. So we did get a couple of questions. Go ahead.
I'm looking forward to states like New Jersey having conniption fits, telling everybody how assassins are going to be running around with suppressed firearms and killing people off, even though they've been legal in most of the country the entire time. It just costs $200 tax stamp.
It seems so weird that the false narratives, we're preaching to the choir, but whatever, false narratives about suppressors and rapid fire and short guns or whatever their issues are with guns that are, MFA. It's just so frustrating that they're able to continue that with, like you say, so much, I don't even call it precedent, like just so much time on the clock with millions and millions and millions and millions of suppressors. Like, holy shit. And the thing is, it takes a pillow. Like, it's so easy to suppress a gun. It's not something that criminals give a shit about. And they just can't. We haven't done. It's not their fault. It's like, why would they change? You know what I mean? That would be unrealistic for us to expect them to just spontaneously change. So we haven't been able to, with all of the strides we've done, we haven't been able to normalize suppressors. Hopefully we'll figure out some ways to normalize them that aren't just painting them like, WD-40 cans or dildos or something to make them, I don't know what to call them, like approachable or understandable. Probably the best way I could ask for, really, just because, as we go forward here, we're going to see way more YouTube videos and stuff, and people will kind of understand just through osmosis, I think, that like, as soon as you shoot a gun with a can like 4 times, you don't touch that gun for a while. You're setting it down because it hurts. You know what I mean? Like, you can't touch that can anymore. Or until somebody comes up with some kind of a gel sleeve that everybody uses, because it's the only way you can touch some kind of can mitt. either. We get an offer for some AI viewers, so we may have some AI viewers in the future. People get mad when I post AI images, but would they get mad if we had AI viewers? I wonder if AI viewers say stuff. Tony said looks like he's muted on my side. So
Yeah, AI viewers will probably ask for like really deep questions or really surface. Who knows? Who knows with AI?
have you seen the stuff that's like, can you count to 100 for me? Like those kind of videos, and then the AI is like, sure, I'll count to 1, 2, 3, and then I'll continue on to 100. He's like, yeah, go ahead and do that. And he's like, sure, I'll just be like 4, 5, 6, and then I'll continue on to 100. It's like, yeah, do it, and quit acting like you're going to do it. Just do it. Yeah, yeah, right. I should act like that. I'll just go ahead and say 7, 8, 9, and then I'll do it. And it goes back and forth like that for like a half an hour.
Nice. No, I haven't heard that.
It's one of these things, and I'm pretty sure it's like a comedy thing, because you could just say, read all the numbers between 1 and 100, and then just walk away and let the thing say it. But if you're talking to it and it's misunderstanding and you're laying into it, I think that's part of it. But yeah. Anyway, so then somebody said, I'm assuming this is a scam, but there's no way to know because the foreigners are weird and they speak English as a second language, so we can't expect them to say stuff right. But anyway, it says, I'd like to buy a gun in the Netherlands, somebody. So I don't know why they're asking on a United States website about that in that way. So I don't know anything about Netherlands laws. Do you, by any chance?
Yeah, I have no idea about the Netherlands. Never even considered it. I'm dealing with I'm dealing with New Jersey, bro. I can't deal with the Netherlands too.
It's a good point. Yeah, when you've got a boot on your neck, you're not worried about crying out loud. Not to mention just the states nearby and then the rest of the country. We used to have a guy. I'm trying to think of his name now, and he used to actually come to the United States once in a while. He was from the Netherlands, if I remember right. But during the Gun Channels days, when we had like a lot of live chats and stuff, people would join us from all over the world once in a while. Not all the time, but we were, welcoming to them when they did show up. And oh man, his name was on top of my tongue, but I can't think of it when I'm trying to think of it. But anyway, he would show up every once in a while. And one time he showed up, and again, we had live chats pretty much 24/7. So somebody would open up a room like this, and some people had their cameras on, some people didn't. But the rooms would be full, like 12 people having either active conversations or just chit chat or whatever. But it was just sort of a thing to do on the internet back then, and it was all private-ish, so that we were doing this with friends, not just necessarily broadcast to the world. I can't remember. Maybe they were broadcast to the world, but mainly we were just doing it as friends. Anyway. His name is right on the tip of my tongue. But one time he joined in, and I forget how it worked, but like the Netherlands is on the other side of the earth, and because some people say the earth is round, the sun is different over there, like it's different daytime. And so it was like nighttime for us, daytime for him. And he's like, I'm going to the store to buy a suppressor. You guys want to watch? And we're like, of course. What the fuck? Yes, of course. So then he turns on his camera, and it was snowy because it's the Netherlands. And he walked his ass. I think he had his dog with him. He walked his ass down the street. Everything was as you expect in the Netherlands, like all full of snow, but then everything was snow plowed very nicely and precisely. And then I walked into the gun shop, bought a freaking can, the same way as if we would go in and buy, I don't know, one of those rubber things that go around your grip, or some accessory. Like he just went in and bought it, not even like a magazine, like no big deal. Just grabbed it off the shelf, if I remember right. Off the pegboard type of thing, just there. You could grab 7 of it from the Anyway, bought it, walked home with it. And I don't remember if he shot it, because back then you could do stuff like that. He may have gone shooting, but it was basically just walking to the gun shop. It wasn't like he was at a range. So anyway, that was somebody from the Netherlands. And if I remember right, they had some dumbass laws, like you could own 1 gun at a time. I might be mixing that up with Israel, but like you could own 1 gun at a time, like handgun at a time, and 1 box of ammo for it or something. So he could buy whatever gun. That might be like Poland too. So he could buy whatever gun, but he basically had to go into the shop and exchange it all the time. And then he could have like a box of ammo at one time. So it was like weird. It was kind of free, but also stupid, arbitrarily not free. And then I'm pretty sure rifles, you could buy whatever you wanted. And then suppressors, where they expect you to use a suppressor. Otherwise, you're some kind of asshole.
Yeah, so the whole thing is, yes, you can buy because it's just another firearms accessory, and in many places in Europe, and it doesn't make a difference. Also, yeah, they control how much ammo you can have, thereby they know, and especially if they know how much ammo you can have, you aren't going to be a person they have to worry about resisting the government for more than a 50-round box of 9 millimeter.
Because if they were worried about anything else, then they'd be worried about all the other things, like what a gallon of gasoline could do. What, there's so many ways that you can hurt people. To suggest that bullets are the somehow magical way of doing it, just such an arbitrary. And because they never challenged and they have no right to challenge it, I guess they have to depend on some kind of consensus of the elected representatives to decide to change the rule. Like, that would suck. But that was a good question, even though it might have been some kind of weird scam or something.
Yeah.
So this one's interesting, a little bit more of a real question, a little more meat to this question, I guess I should say. So this one is from Ogre, maybe? Something like they're saying it. But I'm trying to understand how a round is shown penetrating wood or other materials. How does this differ from a round going through a body of flesh? It says that's, so maybe this is a different question. How does this differ from that same said round going through a body of flesh? At first I read it like, what's the difference between hollow point or not? But now that I'm reading it, I think they're saying, how can a round be shown going through materials, but then that same material can go through flesh? Do you ever get questions like this at diversity shoots?
No, I don't, and I don't even understand the question. How does the round go through, or what effect does it have on the medium, or what effect does it have on the round? I don't know what the question is.
Well, they're saying, I guess, I think the way I'm reading it, how I am trying to understand how a round that is shown penetrating wood or other materials. So, like, how can they see that a bullet can go through stuff like wood, materials like wood, but then that same bullet can go through, it's designed to go through flesh, or like, can't. Obviously, if it can go through something harder, it can go through something softer. But I think what they're saying is, if a bullet is designed to go through something soft like flesh, how can I see that same bullet going through something hard like wood or whatever?
There's tons of tons of YouTube content with people shooting through various materials. Off the top of my head, I think Ballistic, Frank, is it Banana? He shoots through wood and other materials with different rounds of the same caliber from different length barrels. That's something you can look at. Tal Flighter Mouse, he uses a shotgun and shoots slugs of various manufacturers, including mini homemade, through ballistic gel and other things, including steel. So those are two I can think of off the top of my head. Lots of YouTube content that you can watch stuff. Paul Harrell used to do a lot of stuff like that too, if you want to watch him. Shout out to Paul Harrell's channel, even though I haven't watched it much since he passed. After his brother took over, it's still got legitimate content that they're keeping posted. They're not going to take it down.
Like you say, useful reference type of stuff. So that's what the answer really is, that bullets are made out of a dense metal, usually lead or something, copper or something more exotic than that. But lead, flying through the air, is still going to do damage to whatever it hits. Some of the rounds are shaped in a way to do like different damage to soft material than harder materials. So if you see stuff like hollow points or whatever, designed to have different performance, put it that way, in flesh or in a gel material like Tony's talking about. But the thing is, even if a projectile is designed to perform specifically in a soft material, it's still made out of lead and copper or something. So it's still going to do damage to hard materials. Now, will it do as much? Will that hollow point, or will that stuff that's made for soft materials work anywhere near as well as just a solid ball or a solid dome looking thing of metal? No, because that's what the solid, what we call them, full metal jackets are for. Full ball ammo, which is as much lead as you could possibly get in the restraints of the bullet. That's designed to go through materials and then do something to the person behind the materials if necessary. So it's definitely going to do more damage to the hard materials, but that significantly smaller or less dense, or whatever you want to say, like less mass hollow point is still going to do damage. But I'm assuming that somebody that just doesn't understand the basics or hasn't like looked into it. Their name is Ogre, so they're probably like doing Dungeons and Dragons or something. So hopefully we answered a couple. If anybody, we got a bunch of people watching. It seems like as soon as we start talking about something specifically, then a bunch of people show up. So I don't know if the logarithms aren't really logarithms. Maybe they are AIs watching the show and they're able to determine when we're like focused in on answering the question, but and then maybe recommend it out, or just coincidentally, because who knows? You know, it is when you look at numbers, you can come up with all kinds of patterns in your head. But there's a lot of people out there right now, so if you have a question, feel free to ask me. Since I was asking you about, I guess I was asking not necessarily that specific question, but like, do people ask questions about ballistics? Do they say like, what's the best caliber? That kind of question, does that come up from the new shooters that show up? Or maybe,
Yeah,
whoever
we get
shows up.
questions like that after they calm down, right? Because if they're a new shooter, everything is new and they're kind of overwhelming. They're worried about going on the range. They're worried about if they're going to screw up or get yelled at, like all the things, for the first time. And usually, if we have time, when we come off the range, depends on which range we're at, what time we got to leave the building. Now they're much more relaxed afterwards. Everyone's telling jokes and stuff, eating whatever pizza's left over, or drinking some sodas, and then they can ask questions because they've dealt with my guys on the line for like an hour or more. They've shot their firearms, so they met each one of my instructors one on one. So now they're comfortable. They knew the people that were there. They've sat in the back waiting for their turn to come up online. So they talk to their neighbors because what are you going to do? You're all here for one reason on the range and you're standing shoulder to shoulder. Let's talk. So that's what they
And
put
they
in.
become more comfortable with like they know what to ask instead of just like vague wondering but not knowing what to even ask. They probably get a little bit more comfortable, like, oh, that bullet thing that we were shooting, like what's up about that?
Yep. And it really works out a lot better. So they're calm. They have questions. And of course, I have my contact information. They can get in contact with us. Matter of fact, I have to put up the next two events now. We're going to be at Recoil on the first Thursday of the month, and we're going to be at Gun for Hire the third Thursday of next month. And put it out now because we had about half of the people that came to the last diversity shoot have been to two, three or less events. And what usually they're the first ones to jump on it and buy a ticket immediately after the event's over. So I have to post that up.
So now it's 108 degrees here.
Wow.
Chime in, people out there, or what temperature is it by you? I would hope that this over 100 bullshit would end early, but I guess I got another couple of weeks.
Well, at least it's a dry heat where you are. My wife's in South Carolina. It's the same temperature, and
Oh,
it's not a dry heat in South Carolina.
no, I do. I definitely appreciate that. Yeah, that would be worse. Hopefully, with air conditioning.
Oh yeah, she's not going outside under any circumstances where she can help it. Uh, but I
What's it
do
like in
enjoy it.
Jersey?
In Jersey, I think it was 78 degrees earlier when we were talking.
It's normal. Yeah, I could definitely handle that area. I've been jumping up to the mountain to get to that kind of temperature where it's just not a factor. It just goes away. Now you can just do stuff. It's just debilitating. It just looked up because I have to leave here in bed. And I was like, oh man, I gotta go to 107. Anyhow,
Yeah. So one of the firearms I'm hoping to get is an FAL donated. So if anybody wants to help with 308 ammo, that's great. But one, FAL is a freaking epic gun. A lot of people own it. It has a lot of history behind it. My thing is, gun dudes can get geeked up by having the FAL at an event, especially in a state like Jersey, um, because it is so restrictive. You know what I mean? Pistol grip, detachable magazine, no bayonet lug. Like soon, all that stuff is going away, and the more options we have, the better it is. And again, FAL kind of hits that classic spot that, truthfully, with the removal of the bayonet lug, if it has one, we're good. And I was talking to one of the companies, and they make a Rhodesian coloration, camo, with the foregrip on it. And I'm going to reach out and ask them for that, which, of course, the Rhodesian color is going to cause more controversy with people. And for me, that's good because now people are going to share it, people are going to complain about it, but people are going to talk about us. And that works for me. And it's usually people online. Most people don't even know Rhodesia's no longer a country, and they definitely don't know any history behind it.
Now, do you think, because you got the potential of literally somebody from Africa showing up at a shoot, do you think that people who have come from Africa know that level of Melser geekness, or is that like?
No, because you'd have to be someone from Africa that's interested in firearms and then knew what Rhodesian SAS carried.
That would be
in the
like having to know
1970s.
about like what the Kentucky Civil War unit carried on their horses or something. Like you'd have to be into it to know. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But it is pretty
Yes.
big. I mean, it is, at least, I don't know, since the internet. It's like, I mean, I knew about the Rhodesian stuff from like the magazines and shit, and I liked their camo. But then the internet allowed us to like search for the camo. Same with like Tiger Stripe. Like we knew what it was, but we couldn't get it anywhere until all of a sudden we could get it everywhere. So I'm sure, anyway, that was just interesting.
And for me, one, the kid that grew up with Soldier of Fortune magazine, and the fact that I've shot the thing, and if you give me the choice between a new modernized FAL, excuse me, and the old school one, I'm taking the old school one only because, one, I want it. But let's go ahead and say, I'm still in charge of diversity shoot, so yeah, I want it. The other thing is, until we can have adjustable stocks, why would I have them send me something with an adjustable stock that has to be pinned in place?
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, this is what happens. Okay, they send me the FAO, with the fixed butt stock, so it can't be adjusted. It's great. It has the coloration I want. And then all of a sudden, this ruling again, they lose in the Supreme Court level, and Jersey can have whatever he wants. A phone call is all it takes to pick up an adjustable FAL stock, and I can just rattle can it into the colors that they use because that's how they painted the Rhodesian gun. Now I have one that more easily fits small stature people with the butt that can be adjusted. So I see it as a win for us. And again, it's the controversy that makes people pay attention to stuff, or just the coolness factor of seeing some lady that weighs 120 pounds, running a freaking FAL, which pretty much looks like she's holding a my-size spear.
Story about a FAL parts kit Bill did a long time ago. It was so long though. Like say, I'm trying to think of what an adjustable FAL stock looks like. They have a folding. Did they have a folding? But
yeah, they had the folding. So they had it. They had one at DS Arms had one at Range Day at Dole's, and that's where I shot it. I'd never seen one before in person.
That's what I was saying. I just shot the FALs there. Did I shoot both of them? I think I might have shot just one. I shot the old one for sure.
Yeah, definitely shot the old one. Let me pull it up.
This SA58 metric, that seems kind of familiar. But anyway, my issue with mine was that it was heavy as hell. It's a 308, so I just didn't have a lot. I only had one other 308 at the time. So it wasn't a caliber that I had a shit ton of ammo for or anything. And I'm never going to use it for anything. I literally owned it because it's awesome, right? It's a right arm of the free world and all that. And I built it. I can't remember it being very hard to build. So my other problem was that I built a all black one, whatever you call it, just the kind of standard all black ones. and maybe it did
Yeah.
have a folding stock, if I remember right.
Yep.
Or it either did or it didn't, and I wanted it. And either way, I figured, okay, I just build it either way. But as soon as I built it, and I sort of settled, I couldn't get a wooden kit right away, or else I made a decision. I really can't remember, but I remember as soon as I put it together, I'm like, I wish I would have got the wooden, because I like the wooden one kind of better. But then, as soon as you do that, then you're like, oh no, I want to paint it like whatever. I don't know if I would have said Rhodesian, but I knew I wanted to paint it up, like one of the painted ones. And so I'm not going to paint the only one. So that's where I'm like, crap, if I can build these things, I'm going to end up with like 5 of these things before I even blink. And then I'm never shooting any of them. And I just didn't need another thing to collect. So for me, that's what happened, is I was able to say, nope, I have too many other guns I want to collect, and this one is too big. But now I get it. Like, there's such a cool gun. And they have the charging handle on the other side. Like, they're just so 70s, and they're so like European. I don't know if they're European. They're like so international, because Europe didn't even use them.
Yeah, I mean,
the French use them or something.
Right Armor, the Free World, Belgium through
Belgium,
Argentina, from Belgium to Argentina, they used them. So I look at it. Oh, by the way, it looks kind of like the stock on a. What's the one with the stupid boot? It looks like the stock on a Scar.
Yeah. Okay.
A little bit, and it folds also. I just pulled the picture up I took over at the DSR.
Basically, there's nothing going on in a FAL's back end. Like, it doesn't need that massive stock, other than that was back in the day when you slammed people with your stocks once in a while, and they wanted guns to be huge and strong. So they were like, well, there's no reason to make it fold. So let's go ahead and just make it a solid. It's kind of a long stock, really.
Yeah, it is. So having it adjustable really works out well for people. I mean, heck, it works out well for me. Even though I have long arms, I like shorter stocks. And I don't know if part of it is I actually like shorter stocks, or I just like it for what I'm doing, because I'm wondering, like, when did my perception of things change to the need of having it be able to work with more than just myself? Because I've been doing diversity shoots. This is going on. I mean, if we really go back to when I started using and allowing others to use my firearms, we're talking 2012, when I did the instructor and the Minuteman Challenge thing. So my mindset has shifted from, oh, this is cool for me, to who else can use this, and is it going to be an obstacle for them?
It's a good point. And a lot of people don't need to put that in there. And one of the things that, if you're looking for, I'm not going to say an excuse to buy another gun, but if you're looking for more opportunities to buy guns, then that's where you start to think about it. Like, who else might want to shoot my guns? And what about my guns isn't ideal for them? Like, what would be an ideal gun for them? And why shouldn't I buy one of those?
Yeah.
Is there anything wrong with thinking about it that way?
I mean, truthfully, I look forward to when we can have an M1 carbine. Oh yeah, that reminds me, I got to contact him. We can have an M1 carbine, because that is a good overall fit. The fixed stock, old school, not even the M1A carbine, just the M1, the original, is a very good gun to shoot and introduce people to a centerfire semi-automatic firearm at an indoor range. Like, all those combinations really work well for what I do, except, it's banned by name in this dopey ass state. So I can't wait for that no longer to be true.
Right, I'm talking and typing at the same time, which doesn't do good, but I'm trying to make a poll. And let's not forget that even though some stuff has changed and the ATF hasn't ruled on it, no matter what, best case scenario, something like 40% of our population is like still completely watching everything from the sidelines as far as this shit goes. That being said, we're not going to stand around and not do shit about it. So the rest of the country is going to keep doing their things or whatever, and people that are chomping at the bit, are still paying attention. They're not, like I say, they're not oblivious to this. So, what is your first thing to get, or your next thing to get? Is it going to be a And so same talk and type it at the same time. Fast. So some of these things are going to be because of the new, what do you call it, like ruling, I guess, from Texas with GOA in that. But then some of it is from other rulings, I guess, with the FRTs, which I guess also are from Texas. So thank you, Texas, for not being around for. So anyway, what is your first thing to get or next thing to get? A can, a short gun, or a fast trigger? So, well, they already knocked down a couple of your a ban in New Jersey recently. But assuming that they knock out some of these other bans federally and more options are on the table for the rest of everybody. So, in that hopefully not too distant future, what do you pick up first? Next, a silencer, a quieter, a short, or faster?
For me, fast is out. Okay, fast serves no purpose for me doing diversity shoots other than to burn through the ammunition
Just
that
waste
I too
ammo
have to pay
faster.
for.
Yeah.
So if we get a faster, it'll only be in 22 long rifle. The quieter makes much more sense in my state, especially if I can get it donated. So that helps. The quieter helps because we shoot at indoor ranges, and that would help tremendously with what we do. And what else? Um, the shorter also. I mean, truthfully, adjustable stock, shorter gun. What a surprise! How's this? A 9mm pistol caliber carbine SBR with a suppressor. Bingo! It's a bingo.
With a fancy
That will
trigger.
work. Listen, with a nice trigger is fine. But that would be a win for us because now it gives everybody in your family something cool, especially if it's one of the guns from any of the popular video games, but is also ergonomic, doesn't weigh a lot. I'll just go ahead and say MP5 suppress, MP5 SD. That's a
Yeah.
winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah. The can on it is a little bit sticking out the end compared to like some guns that have been designed to kind of incorporate the cans a little better or I guess differently, but that's the only negative. It's hardly a negative. And I suspect cans are going to get shorter.
But understand, it's not only the way the gun is set up, it's because it's an iconic gun that all of a sudden it'll drag a gun nerd in. And now the gun nerd is hearing about these Second Amendment groups in his state for the first time, and the fact that we do cool things like clay shoots, dove hunts, and fishing trips. And now all of a sudden he's participating because, I've never shot clays at this. We shoot at Lehigh Valley, and it is like a club that's higher end. So now all of a sudden, for a small fee, you get to shoot at this exclusive club like twice a year, and you get to go on these hunts. And all of a sudden, you're doing things with a Second Amendment group that you didn't know about prior to coming to my event just to shoot an MP5 SD, MP5 SD. And I'm not just saying MP5 with a suppressor. I'm saying the one with the built-in suppressor that we all know from when we were kids. Because cool guns help. That's why High Point is sending me their High Point 15 with $100 bill hydro dip. That's coming my way. It got put in the mail yesterday. So we'll be having the only one out there at the diversity shoots. And of course, you can pick up a High Point HP 15 for what, 600, sub $600. But this one is going to be different and it's going to be cool. And I can't wait for people to take pictures of it and do memes and giggle and laugh. But it goes on a line, and then your grandmother comes and shoots the rifle, and it goes, "Oh, this is nice, and it's kind of funny because it has this." Cool. You can have it. Nothing has to look a certain way. You don't have to have all these military-looking firearms. I'm actually going to reach out to EAA. We've had a discussion about either getting a high-polished semi-automatic handgun, or even the gold-plated semi-automatic handgun for the exact same reason. We need to, as gun guys, as someone who introduces people to firearms, I'd like to introduce them to something that's multiple colors and everything doesn't have to look like a military thing. And that'll probably make them less, remove some of the trepidation some of the new people have about shooting stuff because all of a sudden it's not so serious, even though they have to get over the fact they're firing a firearm. but now it's okay. This can be more than just cosplaying being a soldier. It could just be I have this because I like this, and it's cool colors, and nobody here is trying to gatekeep. Oh my God, you have red anodized furniture on your AR. You must be a noob that doesn't know the value of anything. No,
I
it's
did
dudes who
a
thought it was cool.
Facebook video of the Bond Arms 4570 Derringer that they did up with 250th anniversary or whatever on the country. So that's why they had it out at the Coles thing. I don't know if you saw that. Yeah, the Bond Arms also had that lever action
Nine.
223.
Yeah. I didn't see their lever action 223. I know Henry makes a lever action 223.
Well, they've had it for a number of years now. I was actually shooting shit this year, and I've seen it, and I don't know if they've had it at the range before or not, but it was my first time to shoot it. But anyway, so then they had the 4570 with the engravings and shit on it. And the way they do their 4570s, because it's the Remington style Derringer, like the old style Derringer where the top barrels or the barrels are hinged on top and they flip up out of the way, that's not super strong, or at least it's not as strong as you would want for two barrels. So what they do is they just have one barrel in there, even though it looks like a two-barrel Derringer. And it's basically the other barrel just doesn't do anything. It's just solid metal. So anyway, so you shoot this thing and it's a one-shot. So it's, it is what it is. It's a 4570 Derringer. It was built to exist. And if you pay attention to Bond Arms, they've done some real like thumb to the nose, whatever you call that, like nah, like fuck you government. And I don't know if they got like, I'm trying to think, like I don't remember Bond Arms getting stepped on specifically, but they definitely are cool or have been, I call it cool, but like have been whatever you call that, like jovial, I guess, in the past. Like they'll do some engravings on guns and shit that are like, joking or whatever. So, and usually like, not the anti-ATF, but like rubbing it into the ATF and shit. Like at least I can think of a couple of examples of that. So I think like for example, like a long time ago they had at NRA show, they had a Bond Arms sitting on the table with 250 BMGs, like projectiles sticking out the end of the barrel, and they called it a 50 BMG Derringer. And it was a joke because it was just, regular sized Derringer with these projectiles sticking out, but just to fuck around, because they could do it. So anyway, they're just that kind of company. And anyway, so I post this video. I'm just trying to say, like, Bond Arms doesn't take themselves too seriously. They're kind of cool in that way. Yep. And they do new things. It's not like they're just sitting around on just making Derringers, but at the same time, anyway, they're a cool company. I think they're female owned, right, in Texas. Anyway, so I post this video. And then somebody comes along, and they're not being a dick so much as they're like, I don't see a reason for this. And it's just like, what the fuck, guy? Like, come on. So, like, somebody can't just make a thing. Like, for one, like it just said, Bond Arms. You should just know Bond Arms are going to do something so they feel like it. They don't need to wait for permission or, some like rule that says this gun needs to happen or something. They just do stuff. But at the same time, like I don't even care. Like I own a bunch of guns that I just own because they exist and they happen to be guns. But I own all kinds of dumb things that are just, like a rubber chicken or something. Like I'm not allowed to own stupid shit that has no use other than I could buy it and it was in front of me or somebody gave it to me. So it's just such a downer for somebody to go like, that gun is practical.
No, it's not. It's not a downer. To me, it makes me laugh because they don't see themselves for what they are. You're a freaking stick in the mud, bro. You're a party pooper. Anytime you go to a freaking car dealership, do you go, I don't see why you have a 700 horsepower truck or 700 horsepower car? Do you say that? Anytime you look at your speedometer, do you say, I don't see a reason they should go over 70 miles an hour because anything else faster is impractical? Like, is that every part of your life? Because if it is, you must be fun at parties, but at least you're consistent. If it's not, don't you see the hypocrisy of what you just said? And maybe you should watch that every now and again.
No, that's really the better way to say it, because really that's all it is. And they're just, whatever, got something going on in their life and they're taking it out on the internet. But yeah, go do it on cars or something.
Why does your car go over 50? The speed limit is 55 to 65 to 70, depending on what road you're on. There shouldn't be one that goes over 70. Why the hairy heck do you need a car, a minivan with 16 cup holders? That's ridiculous. Why do I need a flat screen, touch screen in my car?
Speaking of cars, so I just was I'm a nerd, so I recorded all my numbers when I drove up to Goals and back. It costs like a lot of money, $4,000 to drive up to Goals and back just in gas. So I don't think it was worth it as far as monetarily. But I got to say hey to people, so I guess that was nice. But better gas mileage. I used 89 whatever octane gas going up there and 91 octane. So mid grade on the way up and then high grade on the way back, right? Which do you think did better gas mileage, the mid grade or the high grade? I think pretty much the same speed limit and almost the same roads.
High grade burns cleaner?
Wouldn't you think? But no, the mid grade I think was like 21 miles a gallon and the other one was like 19 miles a gallon.
Wow. So, okay, I figured, high grade would burn more efficiently, but okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of happy because it's cheaper. But yeah, exactly.
Heck yeah.
I would have thought
It's a freaking win.
I don't think it's uphill and downhill. Even if it is, it's uphill. It's probably like uphill a little bit and then downhill going from Tucson down to Iowa. So
for every uphill you got a downhill. So
yeah. So I think it's kind of a wash as far as like I don't think it was going uphill one way and downhill the other. So. Anyway, just sort of a side thing I just happened to discover the other day. We're not getting many votes on the poll yet, but short gun seems to be winning. I don't know about. I mean, I like cans and everything, but to me, I'd just rather have a gun that's more comfortable, more useful. And I do like short guns. I'm nothing like the PDA part of a short part of a PDA, a personal defense firearm that people love. I don't care about the two hands as much, especially if it's on a capable firearm. So that's why I like the rifle caliber in there.
So
for a short barrel rifle, not a short barrel pistol caliber thing that wastes your hands.
What my guys are enjoying and what a lot of the shooters are enjoying, understand that I have a lot of new shooters, so this is getting from them. Look, gun guys love freaking SBRs and shorter guns. Let's not act like we don't. They're freaking cool. Everything about them's cool. So they've been doing a lot of these pistol chassis. So my guys have I almost said tactical response, recovery tactical. They have the recovery tactical kit, and it's one of the ones with the folder, the least expensive one. We have that on the line. We have others on the line that do that, and I'm looking forward to bringing this particular one again from Kiro, the Morph. I'm looking forward to putting that on the firing line too. And once that gets on the firing line, people are going to be able to shoot a Glock in this Morph. I think you shot it, right? You shot it at the Goals.
Yeah.
Or did you get to it? Okay, cool. So I think people are going to look forward to pulling triggers on that because, again, you have the entire handgun in this shorter thing, and my people can use it. So I can't freaking wait because this can have an adjustable stock. So the shorter statute people can actually shoot it and not be stretched out. Well, I don't even think it has an adjustable. Hold on. Yeah, it's right here. I don't know why I'm talking about it. I don't know if you can adjust how far it comes out, but it's so short that it makes no difference. It has the
Plus it's a brace. Plus it's a brace.
Oh, it's a brace. I'm sorry, but obviously, but it allows. It's short.
I shot it, but I ended up trying to shoot it for my meta glasses, I think. So I was shooting it like a spaz, like just holding it off in space, trying to get it into the frame of the glasses. But no, I dig it because it's got. I'm going to call it the M&P rails because I think of M&Ps when I think of those rails. But other guns probably have them. Anyway, it's got that's brace that comes back with the rails, so it's very compact, and it's not like a side folder in other words. Which, like going back to what I was just bitching about, like if you're going to go to all that trouble, make it a rifle caliber. But what they're trying to do here is make I guess a pistol more capable or give more reach, I guess, to a pistol. I think it was you that was saying like having that thing in your truck or something. That can work with your sidearm. So now you're just walking around with your gun in your holster, but then something goes on and you need to shoot, 200 yards away. As long as it's not like I need to shoot 200 yards immediately. Like you can take your gun out, put that thing in, put in a chassis, and now brace that thing and have some optics or something or nice iron sights, I guess, compared to your regular sights. The thing is,
I mean,
pistols are super capable. Like nobody, I guess, stretches them very much because most people are shooting at indoor ranges or like short pistol ranges outdoors. But when you're
yep.
just out in the desert or out in the mountains somewhere shooting and just plinking and fucking around, like somebody's undoubtedly going to go, all right, try to hit that white rock way up there. And then you're going to shoot at it. And somebody's just going to randomly like do, what do they call it, Kentucky windage or whatever, just try to like shoot around it. But if you leave your front sight where you would normally have your front sight on a target, and then just drop your rear sight and use something like the top of your slide or your chamber or some part of the top of the gun. Sometimes if you have serrations, that's handy. But you can use something else besides your rear sight or your rear sight against something else besides your front sight and still align. Your gun's going to be pointed almost straight up, potentially if you're shooting like 200 yards. But it's that easy. I've done a couple of videos on it back in the day.
So,
But you go to a rifle range with a pistol though, and it's super easy to hit a steel like really far away. So if you put it in a chassis, it's going to be like even a factor, 10 factors easier to shoot. But the gun's capable. Now energy down there, I'm not saying there's energy left, but you can get it down there.
so I've shot multiple handguns at 200 yards on steel, 14-inch target, 200 yards at Fort Dix, range 14. Done it, got pictures, got video, got it all. Don't really have, it doesn't have as much bullet drop as people think. The pistol I have was a Glock 45 that one of the guys purchased on the way to the range that day. He had to burn through a pistol purchase permit. So he picked it up on the way to the range, said, "Hey, Tony, look what I just got. You want to be the first one to shoot it?" I said, "Sure." I took it out the box, loaded it with the 10 rounds, aimed at the target, pulled the trigger 8 times out of 10. I hit it. Again, this is a gun that just came out of the box. It wasn't cleaned. I'd never even tested the trigger because Glock is a Glock is a Glock is a Glock, and was able to nail it. So no, you don't have to have this, but understand with what 4 points of contact, your shoulder, your cheek, both hands, 4 points of contact, it makes it significantly easier to make hits quickly at a shorter distance and further accurately, more precisely at longer distances. So for, let's say, again, using my scenario, you leave the chassis system in your truck or in your vehicle. So what? Somebody steals it, they can't do a damn thing with it. You don't even have to lock it up, in my opinion, because it's not a firearm. If you want to secure it, you can. But something happens like this in and out shooting, right? That just happened in Idaho. You're in the friggin' line or you're close by, you see it, freaking pop the trunk or get it out of your back seat, put it together in your front seat, open your door, lean across the hood, and end the threat. Partially undercover and at a distance, more than likely, this person won't even know where the round's coming from until the impact. And how much damage does a 9mm have at 200 yards out of your Glock 19, Glock 17, Glock 34? Enough to change behavior when you're hitting them. No one's going to blow it off. You might not want to do a 200-yard hostage shot with a pistol, but it's better than, it can stop a mass shooter. It can stop a threat. And people, often come up with their own, I watched Matlock a lot as a kid. So my legal principles is what possible reason could you have to do a self-defense shooting at 200 yards? I'm like, it obviously reading newspapers fails you. Like you don't have to be within bad breath distances to defend life. So anyway, I think it's a cool thing to have, even if you get it as a part of your go home bag, because apocalypse or a mostly peaceful protest and you have to leave your vehicle, but you want to be able to defend yourself quickly and more accurately. All of a sudden you put an extendo, as the kids say, you put your sidearm in that, because it has a 1-point sling and it comes with a sling, this Kiro Morph. All right, you put your carry Glock inside, you put your extended magazine inside if you want, you sling it across the 1-point sling, it kind of sits under your arm, but kind of in front of you, and you throw on a jacket or a bigger coat that covers it, and you walk the heck out of there, and hopefully nobody bothers you. But if they do, you have another option besides a harsh word. If they back you to a corner or force you to defend yourself, you have the ability to do it quickly. And also, it looks a little more intimidating than a handgun. I think there are a lot of positives with this thing.
Yeah, until we have no AOWs, which should be soon, I hope. But anyway, until we have no AOWs, I like the idea of being able to turn a pistol, no matter what capacity or size, even. But, well, I guess it doesn't hold the small ones. But if you get like a medium or a normal size, I think it'll hold the long ones. But the person I'm talking about is going to probably have like a medium or normal size. But if they have like a medium-sized Glock and their hands are just getting to where either hand strength or dexterity or even arm strength isn't there anymore, I like the idea of being able to wrap around, hold something with your arms instead of your hands and still have, all you have to really do is pull a trigger. You have a couple of hands on the thing because we got an aging population and it doesn't take nothing. You don't have to just be old. You can just be broke and have dexterity or hand strength issues, temporarily. So I like the idea of just being able for a couple $100 put the thing in there, and then what's the worst case? Like, oh, I don't need it, or like, like I'll just use my gun normally. So I think there's a lot of reasons to get one of the things. Super well made too. I've played with mine a little bit. My problem is that I got a shit ton of Glocks, but like mine are all stupid specimen, like dumb ones. Like this one has a laser grip on it. This one is a 22 upper on it. This one is a stupid ass little short one. My super long one, I haven't figured out where it is to put it in there. They're all in boxes in the safe, so I have to like go through every one of them. It's too much of a pain in the ass. But I went to like go shooting the other day, and I'm like, oh, I'm bringing that Cairo. Thanks to Tony, I was standing there, so I got one. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to grab a Glock and put it in there. I'm like, damn it, this one doesn't fit. Damn it, this one doesn't fit. Damn it, this one doesn't fit. They're either too big or too little, and or else I got stuff on them. And like my laser grip thing is like a Crimson Trace laser grip from like the 1980s or some shit that like you have to take out the rear pin and put the pin in. So even if I did take out the rear pin, I can't put it back in because I need to find my real rear pin to replace it with, because I always had a giant rear pin back there. Anyway, so I took it to told my friend, like, hey, do you have a normal Glock? Like, bring yours. So I had to bring my friend's. I had to shoot my friend's Glock in it, not mine. So I'm not buying a new Glock. I just have to like actually go through and find one that'll fit in it. But yeah, like it was like a comedy of like, are you kidding me? Like I went through 3 different Glocks trying to find one that would fit it.
Yeah, and sadly, I mean, it's not for like you might be able to slip a Glock 22 or a Glock 23 in, because it says right here, spring loaded compact reloader for Glock 17, 19, 19X, 45, gens 3 through 5. But I'm like, what's the real difference between a Glock 17 and a Glock 22?
There's no difference. Well, okay, if I haven't tested, like I say, my long ones, like I have a 17L, right, and then a 24, whatever, like the long ass ones. I like the idea of putting them in one of those chassis because then you get all the barrel, right? And all the other chassis I've ever put them in. Like I haven't owned one, but I always throw them at the stores. Like they've always held the long ones.
So I just went to KiroMorph.com. Because the first one was an Israeli site, but this is Kiro Morph. Stock option, full-size Glock model, 17, 22, 25, 31. So, and compact models, 19, 23, and 32. So that's what it's saying.
It does do the 23? And the 20, wait, 23?
Yeah, it says,
isn't the 23 the littlest one? And that's awesome.
No, 23 is a 19 size, Glock 19 size, and 40.
And 40, okay.
Yeah.
27 and
26 are the ones you're thinking about.
But it doesn't take those. It's too low.
Nope.
Okay.
Because those have a different. Glock 25. Glock 25 is the one we don't have here. That is the Glock 17 size 380, I think.
Oh, from the old, like historically, we never had that one imported because it doesn't meet our stupid criteria list. Yeah.
Sporting goods, yeah.
But the Israeli thing, I'm sure, has it in there because other countries have it.
Yep. I'm sorry. It's a Glock 19 size 380. and there's a couple here for sale. I saw something that I think Glock Store had them or something, or they have a conversion. Yeah, we are actually talking about it in the podcast the other day. There's actually a conversion being sold that can transform your Glock 19 into a Glock 25.
I told
Again,
you I bought the little Glock. Is it a 42? Like the little tiny 380 one? That's a little single
okay,
stack, right?
uh-huh.
Because I bought that Springfield, or no, Springfield. I don't know how that happened. I bought that Smith and Wesson Bodyguard 2 or whatever it is. That's little tiny 380, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. So I'm buying the little Glock. The little Glock costs like way more. I don't know if I talked about this whenever I bought them, but they cost way more. I really like Smith and Wesson better. But that being said, I needed to buy it because it was a little Glock, and I'm a Glock fan. I
Of
like
course.
Glock, so I was going to buy it at some point. So I bought it. Just I was going to say that. I guess they're super fun. I just like them. They're little and neat, but
Dang.
I'm not going to say they have much point. They're almost like my little 22s, but I could put it in my pocket. So I haven't done it yet, but I've thought about putting it in my pocket, carrying it around in my pocket.
Yep. The Glock Store already sold out. Glock Store 9mm to 380 conversion kit for Gen 5 Glocks.
And see, now that I don't get. I understand. I'm not bitching at it or whatever. Like, somebody needs it, go for it. But to me personally, a full size 380, like, no, I want it to be smaller. Or I want it to hold a shit ton of ammo. And it's not going to. It's going to seem like
it's going to hold 15 rounds. So for me, that's a win. For me, that's a win yet again because of who I have as some of the people pulling triggers at my events.
Right.
So now I was confused at the fact that the recoil spring is the same one. So that kind of throws one of my reasonings out the window. I figured with a 380, they would have a lighter recoil spring, and that would make it easier for someone to rack, right? Also, someone who's recoil sensitive, they could run the gun too. Because again, everyone isn't the healthy person that can run these rounds. They may have all kinds of medical issues, and it's not age or size. It's not dictated by age or size. It could be dictated by what you can physically do. And we had a lady there who couldn't rack the slide on a firearm at that time because she didn't have the grip strength to rack the thing. So I ended up, getting a revolver for her. But I had another lady that had an issue where her strength would go away. Like normal every day, as long as she's feeling healthy and not having an attack of whatever this is, she's fine. But other times she's screwed. So to me, she having something that she could rack easily when her hand strength went away would be more sense and would recoil less so she can recover and shoot more rounds because you are shooting a 380 instead of a full 9. So in my opinion, that means you put more rounds on the bad guy. Like instead of, 2 to 3, you put 5 to 6 if you can. Because usually the only other option I give someone like that is a 22 semi-automatic. And again, you need a decent sized 22 semi-automatic, and then you got to find out what feeds in it reliably. Now I had a Ruger with a 4.5-inch barrel SR22, the handgun that they stopped making, so thereby I had to pull it off my line. But for something like that, we trained one of the ladies to dump the entire magazine because she had a viable threat. She had an ex that actually hospitalized her in domestic violence. She was hospitalized and her face was broken by this dude, and he was serving time, but he was due to get out and he was already contacting her, threatening her when he came back. So we got her an SR22 and we taught her to do mag dumps with it at 15 yards. And we were like, listen, if he comes, call the police as always. And if he tries to get into the house, put every round in him. Do not stop until you're empty. And now we'll practice reloads. And it's because, again, her boyfriend, or excuse me, her ex-husband was a 250-pound bodybuilder. She weighed 97 pounds. She was not going to survive him, who'd worked out in prison for 5 years, putting his hands on her. So my whole thing was put as many rounds as possible. We have to find you the ammo that works for you, and then you have to learn at distance to put all the rounds where you need them to be. So that's what we worked with her for an hour and change of trigger time with just constant reloads and rounds downrange using CCI mini mags or velocitors, whatever was the hottest one they made. That was going to be her carry ammo. And that was also one of the reasons I made my stupid speech about being a responsible gun owner and not a law abiding gun owner. Because at the time we did not have carry in New Jersey. She worked in a public place where it's easy to have access to her. Like you can just walk in off the street to the place, and they expected people to walk in off the street into the place. And I'm like, this is lightweight enough for you to carry in your bag and keep near you at work. So if you have to use it, you have to use it, because no one at work, don't expect people at work to step in between you and this humongounoid monster that comes in the door. So she did the smartest thing possible, what most people tell you not to do. She started putting her new hobby online, and that became part of her personality with her Instagram feeds, was how much fun she was having at the range shooting small groups and the different firearms she was using. And then all of a sudden he lost interest in coming to look her up after he got out of prison. Crazy how that works.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Good use of the socials.
What was that?
Like the story of the good use of the socials. You always hear the bad, you know.
Yeah. And it was really great because she was good with it. And then, of course, all the pictures, her surrounded by other guys with guns because she was taking classes. She was going to places. Really smart move on her part of using social media. Oh, she would have videos of her dry firing at home. Oh, it's great. It was great. All of a sudden, Mr. I'm a threat was no longer wanting to be bothered with her. And her confidence got up and her technique became better to the fact that she actually purchased a Glock 19 and now was running center fire and didn't have to worry about whether, you got a hold of a bad batch of 22 long rifle. But a lot of people who are getting set on the sidelines and opine from the sidelines on social media had a lot of stuff to say, but they've never had anyone in the position we had her in. And of course, she was financially limited too, because she couldn't, at that time when it was really a threat, she couldn't afford anything more expensive than what she was able to purchase. And even if she was able to just tell her to get a police trade in, blah, 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 blah. Well, one, she still had her illness to cope with. And two, she still needed to pull triggers at the range to understand her gun and what ammo to use. And no one's going to give it. People love giving advice. Give her money. Help her pay for ammo. Oh, so you're not going to do that? Then let her follow the advice of people that are there with her. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. I don't like to interrupt you when you're on a reference server. So sometimes I make notes, but if I don't, then I'm like, I was going to say about 4 different things. And the first one's no problem, but then the second one, now I'm juggling 2 things. Third one, as soon as I see a little bird or something shiny, boom, down. I lost my thought. But we are getting some votes over there. There's no votes for fast trigger. So that's one that I've been paying more and more attention to. Well, one, because I got a friend that's got a couple of them, and I'm more interested in them now that I've been shooting them. They're very useful. They're not as I don't want to say, like they're not as difficult to use. I'm gonna say, like some other things in the past have required some, I'm gonna say, dexterity or like some finesse, maybe, because it's hard to call it dexterity. You just have to know what you're doing. Sometimes it just takes shooting it once and then you figure it out. But they're all some sort of bump firing, essentially, and some people are good at it and some people aren't, just like dancing or skateboarding or something like that, bicycle riding. Some people take to it and some people are awkward. So I find that these are more like getting in a 4-wheel drive cart than a bicycle. Like pretty much anybody's going to be able to use these things.
But we just had a conversation the other day that was a little bit surprising to me when we were discussing how does this all fall apart. And I don't have too many discussions personally with just people in free states. So the people I was having the discussion with, I think we're about 50-50. Some of us were in states that can do whatever we want at this point, almost essentially. And then some people were in states where, we'll just say different various stages, because all the states are in different various stages of being unaffected or affected by this, or what's the word, like not being affected. This doesn't affect everybody equally. So the people we're having a discussion with are from a state where I don't think they're going to get as much. So anyway, we were talking about how do you get rid of this, and this thing was, it seems like it's very difficult to get rid of the NFA. So my question to ponder, and I'll put it out there for anybody listening right now, and Tony, if we decide getting rid of the NFA is so tough that we can't do it right this second, is a strategy to leave one or two things, let's say one thing on the NFA so that the NFA still exists, but then just take everything else off of it, in which case we have everything else, right? To just either however they're going to do it, probably as an F4473, but either way, we get it off of the NFA without having to remove the NFA. If you follow me, the question then would be, what do you leave on the NFA? And in my answer is destructive devices, because who the hell cares about destructive devices when you look at machine guns or short stuff or any other weapons? Everybody else seemed to say leave machine guns on there because they wanted to have grenade launchers, I think. I don't want to put words in their mouth. I might have been summarizing it. There was probably other reasons, but to me, it just doesn't make sense. Like, if you're going to leave something, but their reasoning was, you don't worry about machine guns because we have these FRTs now. And I guess I don't like to depend on some tentative court ruling at a district level,
that is some dopey ass thinking right there, obviously coming from people that don't live in banned states. See, what happens when you have a lot of freedom is you don't know how the freedoms are taken from you. And they're not seeing, all it takes is one movement, all right, one little flood, and then all of a sudden, all this money's being dumped in abandoned FRTs. So no, you get machine guns legalized. FRTs can stay if you want to keep one, and you don't have to buy a machine gun, but it's now legal, and they can't do a dang thing about it. They can say it's a freaking machine gun. Fine, machine guns are legal. So what? So
no,
yeah,
exactly. And the thing is, they're not going to not sell them because exactly, like, you already have an AR. Now you want it to shoot faster, put an FRT in it. Good go.
Yeah, pull the FRT. The FRT is now protected because a machine gun is no longer on the on the NFA. I mean,
everybody in the chat who's legal to have one and can afford to buy one, you get an FRT. All you have to do is go buy one. So it's kind of like Oprah, except capitalism. So if you want an FRT, you get an FRT. You get an FRT. You get an FRT.
See, one of the hardest things about being someone in a state like mine is when people go to the firearms community, they talk to people who don't live under these rules and don't know how they attack our rights. So, if you're living in Montana, you've never had to deal with these duplicitous a-holes like we do in New Jersey. What they really meant was this about sensitive places. No, they pretty much plainly said what they meant by sensitive places, and the new law, the extra 2 words you added are still unconstitutional. So when they see something like that, they go, yeah, I want, I got FRTs. I just want to be able to shoot grenades. Hey, dude, get over yourself. You can shoot 37 millimeter. And by the way, just because we leave it on the NFA, don't mean we don't go after that next year. Our strategy has to be the same exact thing as the anti-gunners. All right, we take this one. Hey, that's all we wanted. 3 months later, we launch another lawsuit to get the other thing. It never changes. We continually need to scrap. We don't take a win and sit down. We take a win and go, what's next? I mean, if you use a sports analogy, you don't stop trying to get touchdowns after the first one. You keep playing the game. You don't go,
and then even after you win the game, right? You want like you want like a string of championships and shit.
Yes.
And that's where like we win occasionally. Well, the thing is, we never start the fight, hardly ever. We always just react, and sometimes we win, a challenge, I guess. And then our reaction is to go, wow, and sit down. And sometimes we go,
Yeah.
oh, that was easy, or like, oh, we did it. Like, that was difficult. But then we sit down and go back to business as usual. And we don't have 3-letter organizations that go, amazing, look what we just did. Let's learn from that and gather our troops who wants to keep fighting, sign up here, and let's move forward. And then what'll happen once you get that, once you create that encouragement, like, hey, we just won. Let's do it again. Who wants in? Like, whoever's still like got some fight in them, sign up and let's do the next step right now. And then once you do that, like you create that momentum, what happens? People don't start to go, oh, let's fight and rest. They start to go, let's fight and then what's next? Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm going to take a break because I know that as soon as I get unrest, as soon as I'm rested, there's another fight to happen and I can jump right in. So you get a bunch of people that can and they start doing.
So one of the strategies I said immediately after this win in the Third Circuit is now is the time for every one of these Pro 2A organizations that were in on this win, and every Pro 2 organization in the states that are affected by it, Delaware, New Jersey, Virgin Islands, and Pennsylvania. And I know Virgin Islands isn't a state, but shut up. Anyway, all of them need to push for growing their memberships because everybody wants to join a winning team. Because the next move is to go for the next thing, and the next move is to go for the next thing. It takes $1 million to get these things to the Supreme Court. We need the money, and to get the money, you need the membership. And you exploit your wins by doing that. And that's what we're going to have to do. We have to change a lot of our strategies because gun people just want to be left the F alone. And that's one of the problems with us. It takes everything to get us involved in the fight. And as soon as we won this, I guess, battle, everybody's ready to sit down. I'm like, there's a whole war, right? And if you want to know when it's going to end, one of two ways. Well, one, it's never going to end if you believe the quote by Coretta Scott King that every generation has to fight for their freedoms. Or the other is you make gun control political suicide for anybody that suggests it. You know what I'm saying? You just make it something that ends careers.
I kind of see that as the same thing because once you understand that it's not a battle to win or like a war to win, right? Once you understand that it's just being, what's the word, like value, what's the word, like able to withstand the attacks because the attacks are going to keep coming. Like once you're rugged, then they sit down because they quit. And that's what's happened is we were capable. They all sat down for a while and then we became less capable. And then they all stood up again in the 1960s. So whatever, it's just a cycle of, I don't remember, culture or some shit. I don't know. But anyway, societies or something. But that's something we just have to understand, like be teaching people. And it was kind of, it's there. I think of all the, like, there's nobody in, I shouldn't say nobody. There's probably fewer people that are like into motorcycles or boats or guitars or cooking or something that worry about constitutional rights as much as us. You know what I mean? Like we have our constitutional rights stepped on and we understand it. And we have, like I said, 40% of our population doesn't even have their rights. So we understand that. I think civics is like a bigger chunk of our realm than some of the others. But yeah, it's always been here, but I think, and I don't want to act like it's not here right now. We need to do better. It's just, we have to remember that that's a piece of what we're doing. And when we don't focus on that, then that's when we become vulnerable again to the other side, just mopping the floor with us. But I don't want to act like that happens too often. I mean, I guess I've seen examples of it, but I think in general, we as a gun owning community or whatever we're called, know more about civics and shit like that than, pick 10 random people out of the rest of the country.
Yeah, so the crazy part is this. Others are starting to notice that have other interests that they're losing their rights slowly, and then they're going around going, hey, look at this, fellas. And gun people are like, your first time? Yeah, no crap. So I think that's our chance to actually use that as a recruiting method to get people to join us too. They use that Venn diagram of freedom fighter, Second Amendment advocate. You know what I mean? The people that are upset over flock cameras. Hey, guess what, buddy? One way to guarantee your civil rights or another thing to fight for is the Second Amendment, because what comes after that? or the people that are upset because now your vehicle, at 2027 model year, can actually spy on you, and they can sell your information to insurance companies and everything else they can do with the information they gather, including impaired driving. Your car can turn off and not start up because you're impaired. And most people think that means drunk. And I'm like, well, I work in a prison where they actually make you work doubles, even if you're not scheduled for it. So now you're getting off after working 16 hours, the last 8 unexpected, and you get in your car and your car determines you're impaired and won't start.
Dude, and the AI, when you're talking like that, the AI is going to be doing this. It's not like they're going to have a human sitting at a screen watching 12 people drive, right? It's a robot watching 1,200 people drive. Impaired is going to be like, yeah, looking at your phone, right? Like fucking off, talking to your kids or talking to your friend in the passenger seat instead of watching the road, or just somebody jamming out on the radio, trying to de-stress or whatever they normally do in their car. Because we take so much of driving for granted. And it's one of those things where, man, I can't even tell you, like, I don't know, I drive probably a third as much as a regular person because I barely ever drive, right? Like I drive, but rarely compared to regular people who have to commute and stuff. So I understand that. But even with as little as I drive, I mean, I'll look over when I'm at a stoplight and everybody's on the phone. Everybody's on their phone, like when we're at parked. And then you drive off and you look, and I'd say a third of the people are still on the phone, and that's Tucson. If I'm in a city, it's more like 80% because everybody in the city is used to doing this. They have to drive all the time. So like most of them are on their phone while they're driving. And it's 1,000%, they're all doing it. There's no accidents happening. Everyone is doing it. So to suggest that we're not like super capable, that's bullshit. Like we're super capable. We just don't acknowledge it most of the time. And because it's illegal, we're not going to be like, oh yeah, I can, whatever. You just call it multitasking. Like I can do whatever. I can drive and talk on the phone all the time. But it's that we have this like gap between like, oh, we're super capable to be able to do this. But if you said, should we pass a law to stop people from talking on the phone? Everybody's going to be like, oh yeah, of course. Like, it just makes sense. Stop them from not talking on the phone. It makes no sense. Even though they're secretly thinking, well, I can talk on the phone super good.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's the thing about the cameras is they're going to start to see unsafe practices, and we're all going to have to sit there like robots. And like if the teacher was yelling at us in school, yeah.
Yep, hands on 10 and 2, and you're driving and you're checking your rear view mirrors every 30 seconds or some craziness. Yeah, same thing.
But anyway, I wanted to say, hey, I'm assuming that's Patriot. Blind Arms out there. I've been chatting with Ozzy for a while, but I'm assuming that's Patriot. He had a couple of points earlier, and then they were talking about holsters and stuff. But he said third time's the charm, so I'm assuming that means they took out his other channel. This being said, I understand a little bit because he keeps putting up copyrighted shit. So I think that's part of the fight. So I don't think they're out to get you as much as they don't like what you're putting up. Whenever you put up, I remember you were putting up a bunch of like Reagan speeches or whatever, and if those aren't, what's that called, like open source or whatever. But I'm not saying I like what's going on with cars, and I don't know if we're going to see. Look what's happening with the flocks. Have you been paying attention to what's happening with the flock cameras? Like the kickback that's happening in all the cities. There's like 200 cities at this point that have said we don't want them. We won't allow them anymore.
My whole thing is this. Great, congratulations. You've all jumped on this bandwagon of flock cameras. Keep paying attention to what's happening. Don't just stop when you have this win. And to me, you need to pay attention to it all because this was a runaround by the law enforcement and the government to make it a third party that's spying on you. And they just get that information from the third party. Well, one of the things that the Ford did with their 360 camera is that the 360 camera can check out everything around you at all times when your car is on and send that information to law enforcement too. So they all have a flock camera on them. And again, it's owned by Ford, not your law enforcement. So there's other ways they're going to do this. And we have to stay aware of it.
So
They
I
never.
just watched a thing today that the earbuds, the Apple earbuds, a lot of people like to have. Those have an IR camera in them, and they take a low quality IR image
Mhm.
at certain points. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that people aren't paying attention to. If you started paying attention, you'd be like, oh, there's a lot of tags and chirps and signatures that we emit as we walk around.
Yeah. So my whole thing is don't be suspicious. Be aware and then be proactive. Don't check in for a little time. Check in for the long haul. Become. Just skip the bull crap and become an advocate. Don't play with it.
I definitely can use more activists, and we're better when we have more than when we have fewer, for sure.
Yep.
We got a couple of things we could chat about. I'm going to put AmCon in here, but we don't talk about it very much. Put that in there as a note because it is coming up. We'll talk about it, but we can also talk about it because neither one of us are getting paid to be there. But it's 150 days to SHOT Show. I was just looking at my countdown calendar. Depending on what day you count SHOT Show, it's like 149, 150 days to SHOT Show. And Outcast had just posted out here that he just got done with a hike. And that's one of those things that I wanted to mention that one, we got to keep ourselves physically able, right? It's useful. It's like one level down from necessity, but it is pretty much, ideally it's a necessity. But the more physically capable we are, the more physically capable we are. Period. That being said, walking around is a pretty low impact, useful. And I mean, like it's about the things you can do. I'm not a big fan of the gym personally. I used to lift weights, so I get it. And like body shaping or whatever you want to call, like aerobics and eating less, or if you're doing it with like lots of protein and lifting weights, I get it. It's not my thing, but when I was a kid, I get it, right? You try to look good or whatever. Now I'm old, I'm more about like just being healthy. But in general, like we were just talking about civics and shit, like if we were at Maj, if we had Maj in here, just to be good citizens, right? Like we should just
Yep.
include physical fitness as part of that. You don't have to be like some kind of like marathon running gym goer. And that's where I'm saying, like, I get the gym, but I can also see people that have no time for the gym. So I get it. And the thing is, you can do a lot with just jumping jacks in the morning, push-ups and shit. Like, look how fit the military is. And trust me, like you never touch a gym. You don't touch a weight. It's all just push-ups and sit-ups and running around. And get in trouble and having to pay for it with push-ups and shit. It helps. But seriously, like you don't do it. I never touched a weight in the Army or nothing until way after any kind of training, when you can do what you want. And then you can decide to go to the gym. But everything else is, like everything basic and everything is just push-ups and sit-ups and shit. So I'm not discounting that at all. You can do a lot of it. That being said, it's 150 days to SHOT. I need to start walking. I don't know about what because you walk way more than me just in general. Like I was just bitching about, like I don't really drive. So if I'm not driving, I'm not walking. Most of the time I'm sitting here. So I get out of shape for sure this time of year because it's about a half of, the other side of the year from SHOT Show basically. So it's one of those things I need to get out and start walking. I blame it on the heat, but I don't know who out there's same boat. Like, are there people out there that are exercising through all this, or are we all need to
So
start?
I walk in 5,000, 7,000 steps a day. So that's what I do, but I'm gonna up that because I want to get better at it. Also, I'm gonna start going to the gym and work out and get steps in there because winter comes here, and between biting cold and the fact that if it snows, it becomes more dangerous for me to walk in this area with people, ignoring the speed limit and everything. And now I'm walking close to the edge of a road where people somehow think because you have four-wheel drive, that means somehow by magic, all four tires stick to the ground on ice. And the last thing I want to do, my sense of humor couldn't take me being killed out exercising in the wintertime. Boy, just no.
No, I hear that though. That's a good point, and that's something I don't think about because I'm in Arizona. I think about hot as shit right now, and in the winter it's going to be easy to walk around. But yeah, when there's snow and shit, like you don't get sidewalks necessarily. You don't get the option.
Yeah.
Plus, yeah, I can see gyms being an option. Well, something like a pool, right? I understand. I'm not a big swimmer, but I get swimming, right? And if you are a big swimmer, right, like a pool, a gym is way more practical than having a pool. We can't all have pools. So I do understand, like, yeah, for weather and shit, you definitely want a gym. But yeah, I need to get out and start walking. For me, it'll be walking in the middle of the night. So I just need to figure out sometime before, either right when I get up or right before I'm going to bed. Is when it'll be temperature wise the right time of day. Because I also don't want to walk. I wouldn't consider walking the dogs when it's 100. Like, oh crap, it's 110 right now. So you know what I mean? Like, I can't imagine with the concrete. It's probably one of those days you can fry eggs on the concrete. I don't want my dogs running out there.
Plus, getting in the, I mean, I've been losing weight. I'm eating less. I'm not eating better. Well, actually, I am eating better because I'm cooking my own food. But I haven't really, I haven't done one of those drastic. I only eat, I don't know, organic grains from the ass of a yak. But what I've done was clean up what I eat, eat more food that I
You
cook
still
and
need
stuff.
organic brain yak ass because I don't like the mucus. The fiber in the mucus is messing with my celiac, so I don't do that one anymore.
Okay, no problem. But it's like you see these people go on a diet, start losing weight, and then to get more and more extreme with a diet they can't continue. So I'm like, no, I'll just eat regular food. I'll walk more. When I hit the gym, I'll move some weights around because that's even good for you because bone strength, actually. When you're lifting heavy weights and doing compound exercises, bones and joints also get exercised. So I'm like, all right, this is all good things, especially, by somebody that spend a significant amount of time in the gym from 15 to 40 or at least 35. Yeah, but 15 to 35, I was in the gym a lot. And then after that, life came at you. But I want to get back into it and make it part of my lifestyle. I don't have to necessarily be a gym dude, but we're older and we know better than our parents' generation did, right? Or the generation before that or before that. Everybody didn't work outside in the 1930s. They just didn't. There were office people then too. um, so yeah, I'm just trying to do something to make my quality of life better. So when I walk around at goals, even though it was smaller than SHOT Show, I was not in pain. When I was at SHOT Show in January, I did not have to have a scooter and I was moving around fine, just like everybody else. After 5 days of walking on that, yeah, there's some soreness and you get tired, but I wasn't
I started doing
immobilized.
3 years ago, maybe. Whenever I
Hmm.
started doing Amazon, I ended up with a like a bucket thing that you put your hot water in, you just soak your feet in it. It's got vibrating little buttons at the bottom, little lumps at the bottom. And I had one of them, and I was like, oh, you know what? I'm bringing this to SHOT Show. And that was one of the best things. Never done that before. You know what I'm talking about? Like, soak your feet in it. So you're in a hotel or
Mm.
whatever, get back from SHOT Show. And I'm not the guy that goes out to all these parties and shit, but I imagine it would be the same if you went out to all these parties also. But anyway, you get done walking, you get back to the hotel. I just used hot water out of the tub, so I didn't make hot water fancy or nothing. Just hot water out of the tub, and then you pour like hot water in there, or fill it with hot water, suck your feet in there. I can't remember if I was even bothering with the vibration thing, but just having your feet soaked in hot water is like
Hmm.
1,000 times, I guess, for recuperation or like recovery, I guess. And I'm not a doctor or nothing. I just did it because I had the thing, and I was like, oh man, this is worth bringing. This is worth having. And then as soon as the water got cold, like however long that takes, 20 minutes or something, take my feet
Hmm.
out, step on a towel, go back to business as usual. But like as far as the recovery from just walking around all day, it was like I've never done it on a SHOT Show for like 20 years now.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it now because we've never done it. All of us have sore feet at the end of the week. I'm like, hey, bro, we can all chip in and get this thing and just
Oh yeah,
take
they cost like
turns.
$10. Yeah, they're nothing. The
Yeah,
hotels should have them. I'm surprised hotels don't have them. Maybe it's just like people don't want them to do it type of thing. But yeah,
yeah.
and then you can get them in like a silicone rubber that kind of fold down if you were going to travel with it. I bet because I have a car, so it's no big deal for me to put a bucket in the car. But if you were traveling with it, anyway. Um, Patriot saying his wife's or daughter has been home from college this summer, so she's been making up meat pie. That'll happen. That's nice too, because sometimes I've had friends where because of the kids they can't eat good because the kids won't eat good. It's like
Hmm.
that you're fighting all the time. I wanted to go back to C&T. Brought up this one, which I don't agree with. I've brought it up before, but it's an opportunity to bring it up again. Tell me if I'm wrong, but C&T says there's a lot of people with machine guns that, I mean, I think he's currently with machine guns that don't want to see their $400,000 gun become a $3,000 gun, and that's part of what keeps the NFA alive. So I don't agree with that. I mean, I understand the concept, and I've heard it in gun shops a million times. But one, there's not like a switch that's on the wall, and every time the government is like, I wish we could turn this switch off, like a bunch of rich people come over and slap their hand and say, no, you got to leave it on. So they're not keeping it there. I don't see how they're keeping it there. But then the other side of it, practically, if you make a Thompson, let's say like auto ordnance, you can just go buy a normal, cool looking short full auto ordnance, a Tommy gun. It's going to be made in Pennsylvania. Is that where they're made? I don't know where they're made, but wherever country or city they're made in, right? That's where they're going to be made. That isn't going to change a World War II machine gun. Just like a new Jeep, you can go buy a Jeep all day. I should start using this analogy. You can go buy a Jeep all day. A World War II Jeep still has value. Now that value will go up and down because there's not just 7 Jeeps on the planet, but there are some World War II Jeeps where there are only 7 on the planet. Like, you pick a weird variant or something like, I don't know how the Thompsons were made, if they're like the 1911s, but there's some 1911s, wherever they were made, they're worth a shit ton. And there's still 1911s being made, but those old 1911s are still worth a shit ton. So it doesn't just track with me. I get this sentiment, but I don't agree with it.
I 100% agree with you on that one. Now, I understand why people think that, but like you said, the Singer 1911, the most rare 1911 mass produced, the value didn't go down because TSOS was able to sell $200 1911s that looked just like the Singer.
Look just like it, exactly. It's fitting the same.
The price of the old Colt Pythons didn't go down because Colt has a new Python. So the same thing will happen with the machine guns. No one's making new belt-fed 1919s. So the 1919 belt-fed someone has, price is not going down. And because there are so few machine guns that are on the registry, new ones aren't going to affect those because those numbers didn't change. Matter of fact, it'll probably go up because now more people will go, I can buy a machine gun and it only cost $30,000 because now you have, again, a larger pool of people with even more money coming into a world that just opened up to them. And the things that you see as expensive, they don't if they're a collector that wants a machine gun and they can buy it without having to register it or pay a tax stamp. Because some people don't want to pay a tax stamp based on principal alone.
Or they can't because their shop doesn't have, isn't an SOT or whatever, so they just don't have that gun in front of them. I mean, they would, they just don't. It's not in front of them, so they just don't know that they could. So then that's just just going to happen. There's just many people.
Yep. So I think they're incorrect, and I also go, yes, they're not a whole group of freaking rich people. There's not this whole consortium of well-off gun owning machine gun owners that could somehow influence government. If they could, they would be working on the rest of the Second Amendment with us.
Seriously, because they'd have more to gain this side of it. Because they know that they have more to gain. Just think about it, right? We always theoretically talk about it. I think we've even, at least I think I brought it up. Maybe it was in a different show, but I brought it up with you. Where like, what would be the actual consequence? Like, what would the tidal wave look like? Trying to think, like, if I don't think there is a keystone right now, but some strategic piece of legislation gets passed, or some court case happens, probably some Supreme Court case happens, probably that nullifies all the bans. So the prohibitions that stop people, 40% of our population, the people in those 9 to 11 states that we always talk about, something changes, and all of a sudden they can buy guns that they couldn't buy before, right? So even if it isn't 100%, they can all of a sudden buy something that they couldn't buy before. Okay, so we're going to definitely see a lot of people buy handguns, right, that couldn't. We're definitely going to see a lot of people buy ARs that couldn't. Some shotgun people exist, so that'll happen. And then some historic stuff maybe, but you know what I mean? Like when you really start thinking about it, what is the consequence of that? Like what is the ammo wake, or what do you call that? Like the wake, or the the after effect or some shit, like, you know what I mean? Like the follow up after the first tidal wave, like there's going to be no ammo anywhere for years once everybody in these countries, in these states, can buy stuff. What about barrels or parts or something? Magazines, you know what I mean? Like the world isn't
Well,
ready. Like our system isn't ready for these states to be given their rights back.
I don't think there's gonna be a bump, but I don't, unless something else happens like 2020, 2021. There's not going to be a rash because the people that don't pay attention don't know. Non-gun people don't know about the assault weapons ban in New Jersey being lifted for a week. They know nothing of it. So there's not going to be a rush. There wasn't a rush from them. There were a rush from gun owners already that ran amok, trying to find 30-round magazines. So I don't think there's going to be a big rush. I think the industry itself will be able to ramp up for it. I believe you'll have a huge number of companies, just like you do every time. Before the Trump slump during the Biden administration years, there were AR companies out of the yin yang. And I think that'll happen. I mean, look at the number of suppressors that are being made and the number of companies that are making those now. I think the same thing will happen. Um, will there be a bump in gun ownership? Yep, but I don't think it'll be significant. What I'm hoping for is it is. I wish what you said would come true. I wish there was waiting lines outside for 22 again because just every citizen wanted a gun, because that would be well on the way to shutting down gun control as a political
Oh,
tool.
as you're saying that, when I'm thinking in my head is everything I was saying before, I didn't even think about one new gun owner. I just thought about the existing gun owners in the states like you that
Oh, okay.
just are able to buy what you can. So the
Hmm.
only limiting factor I see there is like how much money you have to spend. But I didn't even
Yeah.
think about like somebody deciding, oh, I can buy a gun now. I think I will, because that is a piece. It's just like I agree with you. It's not going to be a huge piece, but yeah, that is another factor too.
Yeah. I mean,
I
that's my
really wish we
biggest
were
wish.
dealing with this, honestly, but unfortunately, I don't think we're dealing with this right yet.
Yeah. So we'll get there. We'll get there if we stay in the fight, if we stop gatekeeping, if we bring other people in that don't necessarily walk in lockstep with us with everything we believe, but with the Second Amendment, they do. And they don't have to be as extreme as I am. A friend of mine, Liz, posted something yesterday. She said, I'll stop fighting when we can buy guns out of a vending machine. And that's where I am with this. I'm an extremist when it comes to the Second Amendment because I want to move the stupid Overton window. And you need extremists for that.
Sure. I mean, we've seen it move. Well, we've seen it move both ways. So it's not like,
Mhm.
we're not doom and gloom or nothing. I'm encouraged because I have seen it moved our way, but it can just as easily slide. It's unlike a political system like ours where there's checks and balances from the things sliding back and forth on political whims too often. And then when it happens, obviously there's a lot of social, squeaking about it. But that Overton window, it's kind of open territory, right? Like it's literally just who has the better marketing or who has the better ability to get the word out,
Well,
or
we
who's
also
more
have to
effective
keep,
with the word they're getting out.
okay, and the bad part, excuse me. Well, one of the things we have to worry about as the side that's pro 2A is it really does feel okay if you've read the history books about Washington and how and even during the Civil War, how they had to deal with people that got into the fight and then their contract was up and they had to like convince them to continue fighting or come back. And it's the same thing with 2A people. Once your little pet project, the thing you believe in, and you get the win, a lot of these people walk away. And it's like, yeah, we can have bump stocks now. That's all I was worried about. No, 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 no. We need you for the next thing too, and the next thing, and the next thing. We need you to fight, write letters, and send your donations in to keep this going. It's great that we got the fee for NFA dropped down to $0, but we still need you in the fight because again, until we have them in vending machines, we need you in the fight, and we have to do things to keep them in these groups or to keep them to actually participate politically. Like my thing is not keeping groups in business. I could give a dang. I wouldn't need a Second Amendment organization if more people would just march on their capital, participate in their civic, and use their civic duty. There would be no need for a group because the worst thing they'd fear is that once a month town freaking council meeting that's packed with gun owners going, say something stupid. I dare you. And that's all we'd have to work. We'd be good. But that's not the way world is, and we need these Second Amendment organizations to help us fight the fight in the courts, and also get in the ears of these people before a bill is ever passed. When a bill is stupid is written, we need these state, local, and national organizations to start whispering in ears. If you do something that stupid, it's really going to suck for you to the next primary, and that's it. So
I think
please go in the
something to be
fight.
optimistic about is that, okay, to be optimistic about is like this last thing, and pretty much everything since Heller. They've really been cooperating, the national level organizations for the most
Yep.
part. There's one or two that just sit there making money. And then the NRA, of course, had like issues with the whole infrastructure internally and shit. They seem like they're coming back out of it slowly, I guess. But the big ones like GOA, SAF, FPC, and then the state level organizations where the issues are have been pretty effective at working together. So again, I think we're not going to see a future where they just all become one big new thing. I don't think. But well, it isn't set in stone for sure because these organizations are ultimately run by sometimes a board, but more often a person, or at least a person has power because they were created by individuals. So they're not perfect or nothing, and we haven't seen them all fall apart yet. A couple of them have fallen apart, but for the most part, they're still all on the plateau. They've gotten big and then they've plateaued, and then gotten big again and plateaued. So they're all in some sort of plateau. And none of them have I don't think, have any ambition to become the next NRA. And keep in mind, the scale and difference is 10x. Like, there's none of them are anywhere near the NRA. They're not even like a shadow of the NRA as far as size, member-wise or money-wise. So, you know what I mean? Like, we're not talking about any of them being bigger than the NRA or anything. Even if they all came together, they wouldn't even be half the size of the NRA right now, when the NRA is its smallest. So, but that doesn't mean they don't have power. But I guess I'm saying at some point we will see the founders step aside. We've already seen that happen with GOA. I think that was pretty seamless. Nobody even knows that happened, probably, unless you're really paying attention. But with SAF, it's happening, or it's like transitioning as we speak. So what we'll see is once the founders are no longer touching them, because what's really going on behind the scenes when the founder says, "Here, I'm passing the baton." You know what I mean? Like, does the new person immediately go off in a new tangent? No, they almost immediately. Well, at least right now, they're all doing what they did. They're getting bigger, they're doing more effective shit, but they're all doing what they did. One or two presidents later, what the hell are these organizations going to be doing? Who knows? So I don't want to say we've got it in the bags. I guess what I'm saying, like, we need to be aware. It's possible that they'll join together. It's possible that they'll start hating each other. But I guess right now it seems like they're all working together. And that's where I started, I think, being optimistic. They are working together. I guess I'm just not saying that we should expect them to just continue working together, because they have been petty and hated each other in the past. So it's not beyond them.
Yeah, well, one of the things that is a danger is winning and the group splitting up and not helping each other and going back to the way it was. A whole bunch of wins. All of a sudden now the court cases are less. You have to wait for them or you have to do other things, and they don't want to work together to share the spotlight or corny stuff like that, because you're still dealing with people. And, there's still grudges because some of the same people are still in position at other groups. This is a long-standing thing, and I don't know everybody involved, but I know there's people that have been on these boards since I've been alive. I mean, what, GOA, again, this year celebrated 50 years. So there's relationships that go back half a century between GOA, Second Amendment Foundation, and NRA. Then you throw in NRA, Friends of the NRA, which is a totally different organization. You throw in the legislation part, NRA ILA. Yeah, these are all groups with all personalities and histories between them, and sometimes crossover in people who work from one to the next.
Yeah.
But hey, listen, we're winning. It's really great. I can't be all doom and gloom, mainly because nobody wants to tune in and hear that.
No, I don't think there's any reason to be doom and gloom. But at the same time, we don't want to be dumbass about it when we still
Hmm.
are only talking about 60% if we're lucky of the population.
Yep.
So then Outcast is saying Swamp Fox counted on wins for volunteers when he rescued something like 100 POWs. Only 3 of them
Hmm.
joined. So that's a
Yep.
good point. Like most people aren't looking to fight, and they're looking to not fight. And so we shouldn't expect, everybody to constantly be looking for some fight and be looking to be led, that kind of shit.
All right. So who said this?
Outcast from New York.
Outcast. Yeah. So I'm wondering, Outcast, did you get that from the Dead Warrior Society video or from Fat Electrician's video, or do you go
They
around with
assume
Francis?
Dead Warrior, but I don't know.
Well, Fat Electrician just did his video on him too.
So
But
I went to Iowa,
good
right? And I
stuff.
was driving, so I knew it was going to be a while in the car. And I didn't know if I was going to want to listen to music or what, but I assumed just from driving through Kansas that there's not going to be radio stations, and there wasn't. But anyway,
Hmm.
I did download a bunch of podcasts. I don't know if I mentioned it, and I downloaded about a half a dozen of his because I
Yeah.
just like listening to them. The only problem with them is they're like barely an hour. Like
Yeah.
they're not
They're short.
5 hours long or something.
Okay. Cool.
You just sit for
Um. Yeah, he says neither one. It was a documentary because I'd read up on him and all kinds of stuff like that, but it never got as deep as Dead Warrior did. And good lord, I'm about to freaking talk about something we were growing up. And remember, there was a whole series of historical cards someone made. They were bigger than playing cards.
Oh,
They were
dude,
big
yeah.
index cards.
You got a little
Yeah.
box, and you get like one every month or whatever.
Those are what I had. So that's when I got in, and that had to be freaking 80s.
I definitely dug those, dude, because now you say the history ones. I remember there was a couple of different ones, and I definitely remember being like, when the history ones come out, I did not, it wasn't like a punishment to get those. I was looking forward to getting those.
Oh, 100%, dude.
I think
I've
maybe
read
you got
them
like 3
all.
to 5 every month or something. Like you got enough that it was cool. Like you looked forward to it.
Oh, yeah. I studied them out the yin yang.
I think that would be a viable thing still because you can put all that information on a website and just distribute it digitally or whatever. But having the thing in your hand to be able to flip over and sort, right? Like whatever, like put them in, organize them however you want or whatever. At least from my brain, my head, and maybe my head is like this because of those fucking cards. But you know what I mean? Like I like those having those cards and being able to sort it the way I want instead of like the order some book was going to decide to teach it to me in or like decide to sort them alphabetically or something. So for me, I really thought those kind of things were cool. And like I say, you can't duplicate that on the internet. You can't create a physical thing. And if you're going to create something physical like that, why not do it as a subscription where you don't have to make the whole full set first. You just start making them and let people, start growing their collections with you. But anyway, that's a lot of good memories, dude.
Yeah, man, it was pretty cool.
It was definitely either like just a one per fish also, or else I like the fish ones out of an animal one. But I kind of remember getting an animal one and a fish one. But yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, there was some neat ones. They should have done something like sci-fi or science and shit. Like that would have been neat too.
Yeah, all of us need, dude.
Oh,
You can
the
find
Old
stuff.
West ones I don't remember that one, but I do.
Oh yeah, I did the Old West. They have Native American stuff. I still remember. I think they did Billy the Kid. They did all the stuff, so I dug it. And truthfully, the further we get into the digital world and AI, the more important I think it is for you to have physical references to history before it all gets rewritten and becomes something else. Oh, he sucks as a human being because he had 3 wives. Oh, I don't know, he made a tweet. You know, he tweeted something in 1950 that was anti somebody. What do they call him? He was suffering from is it racism, sexism, misogyny? He was something. He wasn't perfect. He didn't walk on water, so he's no longer a hero.
Ellen, it's almost getting to the point where you just have to suggest that someone wasn't perfect. Like, you don't have to have proof, or like, you don't have to be known to not be perfect for someone to just go, oh yeah, dismiss, move
Yeah,
on.
totally dismiss everything he did. I just had somebody talk about, oh, you guys lionize, canonize, or I don't know, something about Randy Weaver, and he was a nationalist. I'm like, he was a man who had his wife and his child killed in front of him as the federal government browbeat and manipulated him into making a short barrel shotgun that they wanted. It's called entrapment, by the way. And then he still got released because, well, they screwed up, but his family's still dead. And it's the 34th anniversary of that tragedy. And well, he was this and that. No, okay, buddy, then you tell me the perfect person, and then I can't wait to look at what you create with that information. Oh, he comes back with Frederick Douglass, Malcolm X, what's his name? Harper's Ferry, Brown, Brown. What was the guy named rated Harper's Ferry?
Complete blank there. I remember
Not
writing
well,
it
Civil War,
down.
pre-Civil War. Anyway, all of those people, and I was like, really? That's what you're gonna go with, buddy? Because if you're gonna roll with that, somebody has something to say about all of those people.
Well, and plus the Ed Brown, John Brown, John Brown
John
sounds right.
Brown, that's it, John Brown.
But the problem is with that is that if you go with that person's logic or whatever, then only the law-abiding have rights, and who the fuck is, you know what I mean? Like, who's that
Well,
applies?
again, and oh, he's the this, he's the that. I'm like, so you can only identify with somebody that's not. You can't identify with a husband and a father that lost their child because the government came on their property and actually took them out and said they were a threat. Then you know what, dude? You have no empathy, and you only will pay attention to people that meet your requirements. And I don't really need to talk to you.
Well, that's
But I didn't say.
yeah, that's kind of, I was saying a different way, but you know, right? That like they didn't come for whoever, and then when they came for me or whatever, like they came for the other, and they said nothing. They came for whoever, they said nothing. When they came for me, there was no one to say anything to.
Yeah.
And that's
So if
just
you're
the
with,
person that's being selfish. But I think of it the other way too. That like if you want a government that isn't going to overstep, then what are you going to wait until they step on you, or are you going to address the times when they are overstepping?
yeah. So his answer back was that, well, none of these people were white supremacists. I'm like, all right, dude, we're done. I'm not even going to answer this because obviously you see things through the lens of race only. And I don't have time to cater to you. I have way more people that can actually see my point. And also, I said, and to me, I mentioned twice you making your own content. You made no mention of it because you're selective. You even, can't have anybody sign up. And then I was like, this is probably a bot. And if it's not a bot, it's a moron. Either way, I don't have to talk to either one of them because I finally passed 10,000 people. So I'm special now. Did you see because of the speech from GOA?
Oh, nice. You got a
Yeah,
bunch of
so
subs.
it went, viral from my page, and this is the second time I've got over 400,000. So this is up to over 600,000 views on this one video on Instagram,
Nice.
uh, and it's probably about 15 to 1,600 new followers on IG.
I notice that I keep seeing it, right? And I notice it because I'll be like, if there's Tony's feed or something from Tony's feed, I'm going to thumb it up or heart it or whatever the fuck it is. But it's like, I've already done it. And I'm like, oh, so they're showing it to me again. So I'm like, that's explaining why maybe because it's going viral. Keep it showing it to me.
Yeah, so that's the crazy thing, man. Because that went viral, I think I'm all over a bunch of people's feeds. And if you guys see it, hey, thumb it up, share it again. Because what's happening is, all right, this is what happened Thursday. What the hell did I tell you? I got the thing that says, hey, we want you to NRA. Cool. Thursday, I also got the call from confirming Tampa for me at Freedom Fest with Florida Carry. And then I got reached out to by Diana Mueller about going to Washington D.C. with Women for Gun Rights, and she's actually talking to the people on the Senate Judiciary in a chat, and she mentioned my name and what I do, and they actually want to speak to me Monday. So all of that is going on, and I think it's because the momentum that particular speech got and the traction it received, that I'm showing up on feeds and people are seeing me in places other than just the firearms community. So yeah, if you could help me out, because obviously, you know, when people give me a follow, it also suggests other people, and then they'll be able to see others that they might not even know about, because my little thing had a bump in popularity. So hopefully it can carry over and they can see others in this community, that are friends of mine that are also advocates that pretty much fill out every demographic there is, from, people like Gabby Franco to Diana Mueller to, I don't know, the Liberal Gun Club to Operation Blazing Sword. You know what I mean? It's like let's get everybody in and see this as a human right, and that we have someone that fits in every demographic. So it's not just, oh yeah, and it does help that Vivek Ramaswamy saw me in Ohio and actually mentioned me in his speeches. So 2A4E is having a good year of being recognized for the work we do. And it's just going to be funny when we quote unquote make it, and people are going to go, oh, they came out of nowhere. They just popped up suddenly. I'm like, okay, I'll take it. It only took 12 years to be an overnight success.
It is cool to see something pop, though. Did it affect your Facebook at all?
Oh yeah, hundreds of people joined me on Facebook. That I mean, they say the Facebook views are 400,000 plus Facebook views, and just name after name after ton of requests, friend requests. I just don't do the friend request thing.
No, I don't think it's necessary, but it's an indicator of whatever reach or something like that. It's getting put out there still, so that's cool.
Yeah,
And then
so
probably
that's
people are
really cool.
sharing it too, so that'll keep it. I put a link out here to the Instagram one. I'll go try to find the Facebook one. But for
So
anybody that wants to help kind of perpetuate, keep the wave going, right?
yeah, please do if it can help. I mean, I've never asked, oh, hey, can this? No, but if it's helping and bringing people over and they're seeing it wherever the heck, and cool, because it's linked. I had tagged as partners or collaborators or whatever, GOA and GOA underbar con, because they're the ones that set up Goals conference. So she does all of the media for them, and it's still from there, and Goals is all over it. So that brings at least people to Gun Owners of America that might not know about it. So that's awesome, and it helps because we need to recruit people. We need to take wins wherever we can get them, including this going viral. Heck, including the gun bunny-ish looking chick that went viral for half a second for the NRA, because they're way behind the curve and kind of tone deaf to what people want. From what, 3 weeks ago, when they had the lady with the shorts and they were showing her cooter pretty much. I don't know if you paid
That was
attention to
one of
that.
my things that that was one of the things that I wanted to bring up, because not like number one biggest thing on the radar, but I was curious because I saw like the edge of it, I guess, let's say, like the
Hmm.
edge of the controversy. And I was like, at the time I seen it, I think it was probably up on the mountain. I've been jumping up on the mountain. It's like 45 minutes for me to drive up 6,000 feet and hang out
Nice.
up there. So whenever I can do it, I drive up there with the dogs and just get out of the heat because it's been so fucking hot. Anyway, I've been swearing a lot this show. But anyway, so when I'm up there, I don't have full internet. So I might have seen something like this and I was like, oh, I'm curious, but I didn't dig into it. But I was wondering, yeah, what caused it, or how deep the splash was from it.
All right, so it was really stupid. Um,
It was basically
so
gun buddies are back, right? Like there's gun buddy
so
controversy.
it was some lady. I have no idea who she was. I'd never seen her before. I don't even think we had friends in common. And I'm not saying everybody has to know me, but at this point, I know a significant amount of people when I follow them and they follow me. So we should have someone in common when I click on your thing if you're an advocate. So I click on it to find out who she is. Not a gun person, at least not that I saw. She made this content and she's wearing like I think a low cut top and like yoga shorts or whatever you want to call them, and they're pulled up in a cooter, and you can see it's all camel toe all the time. There's no reason anything she did or said I needed to see her ass or her vagina. Like, it was where she chose to have the camera on, the way she sat down. She sat with one leg crossed on the other one on the tailgate of her van. Just all of it was damn near thirst trapping. And it was actually an official NRA thing. And people complain because it's like, yo, dude, we're doing this now. Like the fastest growing segment of gun ownership is women, and you got this chick on here flashing her chooch. And it goes between people that go, oh, this is no big deal, the people that go, and this is ridiculous, why we're doing this. And I'm talking even the NRA got pushed back on it from inside the NRA, from board members. So they've said something.
Okay, is it the one where she like shoots over her shoulder?
Yeah, that dumb shit too, by the way.
She shoots over her shoulder at a target where into the woods.
Yep.
So it's like, what the fuck is this? Like some kind of weird trick shot thing. But then it even says like NRA bot on her shirt or something. So anyway, yeah, is that the one we're talking about though? Where like she's unnecessarily wearing skin tight, tiny little kid clothing or something?
Yep.
Like, clothing that was made for a tiny person and she's a huge person wearing it. Yeah, like it's not very many clothes.
Yeah, I mean, it was done, and it was like, dude, who is this for? What year was this produced? And really, do you think? And of course, she, her comeback, hey, you concentrate on what I said. Yes, honey, you wore what you did so we could not concentrate on what you said. Quit acting like you don't know how you look and what you wore. You don't see anybody else dressed like that at your range, bitch. It's the disingenuousness that annoys me. Yeah, you have the boobies hanging out for a reason. Just shut up.
For the comments, let's put it on screen. Let's look at the comments. Yeah. So basically, I remember seeing this one, and I was like, "What the hell?" But so I guess I did see it when it came out. But this was a while ago. But yeah,
that's about 3 weeks ago.
The NRA teaches always keep a gun safe and in directions. Keep the gun in a safe direction. Know your target and what's beyond. Yet this ad appears to show someone firing over her shoulder without even looking. I like that ad for that comment for sure. 5 replies there, 105 likes. Can we get a ban on those shorts instead? I'm tired of looking down every year influencers' rear sight when I open this app. I'm just gonna say you're talking about a Glock ban holding a SIG. Small details matter. That's interesting. That's the kind of shit that's the kind of nerd shit I like to hear. I think this is AI even more now. I thought it was AI. I think when I first saw
it, I thought it was AI too.
Making fun of this, like I don't get it. And then it says make women wear clothes again. We lost my support.
Look at how she's sitting here, dude. This is ridiculous. What's the point?
What the fuck is that? And like seriously, like if your goal is like I need to get some information across, so what I'm going to do is distract everybody by either wearing nothing or making it,
and just acting like a effing clown with a firearm. This was just bad.
Like I'm going to take off my iPro and my.
Did you just watch her sweep her hand holstering a firearm?
Well, that's going to happen, I guess, but at the same time, she isn't doing it like an instructor or. I mean, she's definitely acting weird. And there's nothing about that doesn't scream bot. Seriously, she's like trying to go out of her way. I have an iPro on sometimes. She just shot without iPro or AirPro. I guess she has a can, so we're supposed to shut up about it. And it's only 9mm, so it can't do any damage. But still. So now she's got axles on, so it's that's cool. She's shooting for real now. And she definitely has a shirt that's fine. She has her boobs hanging out, but it's like, not low cut or whatever, but I can see why people are like, what the fuck are you trying to distract?
Look, you know what I mean? If this was to sell suppressors, if this was to sell a firearms product, nothing would be said about it. This is the NRA, where you go to get certification as range safety and firearms instructor. And I can use this in the class to talk about dumb shit you're doing and you shouldn't do.
Is this sexist to think from Charlton Heston and Tom Selleck to this? The mighty have fallen. I feel like that's probably sexist. Pointing firearms literally everywhere, not using your sights, flagging yourself and the camera from the NRA. Crazy. So, I always try to give the NRA credit for getting their shit back on track or whatever. This is different, but I'm not going to go around saying this is back on track. I think cringe is probably, that's a good definition of gun cringe, right?
Oh, this is definitely gun cringe. And it's like a self-inflicted wound. This was unnecessary.
Right.
What positives do you think you're going to get from this? You got hits? Now, understand, I have friends on NRA who actually run this. And some are defending it and some...
Either do OnlyFans or go back to work at Penny's.
Nice.
I don't know why that's so funny, but it's fucking...
It's 100%. And it's like you brought it on yourself. Sorry, you act like you've never been on the internet. And she, like, at the very beginning, she tries to defend herself. She's up near the top somewhere. And I'm like, whatever.
I don't know which ones are her. Is she Kimmy? Oh, she's Tam. Right.
It's a lot of words.
Was like to do like a video where she looked like a bot, and they were going to make fun of AI or something, and she was supposed to be like a thirst trap, and like,
yeah, it's this Tabe, whatever the heck her name is. She's in there somewhere because she tried to defend herself, and people just freaking hit her like she was clubbed like a baby seal in the comments.
Well, you know what? This is going to happen. But you know what? This would happen if it was motorcycles or guitars. Somebody does something dumb, and then people will go, this is an example of a dumb thing in culture or whatever.
But it was done on motorcycles or anything else. It's not done by somebody that considers themselves the leading edge of firearm safety or motorcycle safety. You know what I mean?
Yeah, rights aren't on the line, yeah.
Like, you took all of the things that you do and just you co-signed on to not doing it right.
So as we go through, I was trying to find it, right? And it's not like that's all they do. So we're not going to say that's all they do. And it looks like this is probably her. That's the weird one here, which was pretty easy to identify because she's wearing no pants on the thing. And this looks like a person who's like practicing gymnastics or yoga or some shit. Like, you could be doing this in private in your backyard all you want, but yeah, you're only doing this online if you're trying to get your OnlyFans thing going. But it looks like she was in here before, and she's doing the same shit though.
Yeah, but at least she's wearing clothes.
Well, she's got pants, but they're still like painted on type of shit. I guess chicks can decide.
Yeah, that's fine. That's leggings. I don't give a crap about that. I mean, shoot, I've been to multiple trainings with ladies, and that's what they wear, and I'm good with it. But it was just, there's a combination of the dumb crap with the safety, and then it's the sitting with your legs spread on the back. It's like, yo, come on now.
Too much, yeah, unnecessary. And like you said,
like, bro.
But it looks like they kicked her to the curb at this point. She's not.
Yeah, I'm like, attractive women, fine. Attractive shooters, fine. Women with tight clothes on. I train with these. I mean, I have friends. I just posted some stuff up with my friend Carrie from December Customs. Yes, that's a mom. I've met her kids. I know her husband. She's a shooter. I've been training with her. And that's how she runs a gun, and she wears their December Customs belts and runs it. She is not a thirst trap. She's not trying to get you to look at her ass. She's trying to dress comfortably, and that's what women wear. Not once did she come out with short shorts and then sit gap-legged on the back of her truck when I was hanging out with her. And I'm talking about train and learn where I was with her for, 4 days?
So now this is making more sense. So do you ever watch, there's some competitive shooter that is always doing a gossip show on YouTube. Ben Stoker.
Oh, that turd?
Yeah, he's some competitive shooter, and he'll always talk about gossip and shit. So that's probably where I've seen a thing talking about how the gun buddies were yelling at each other. And then I was like, oh, that's interesting, because I heard somebody else talking about gun buddies. and then it's all making sense that it's all the same thing. But Agrizer is saying that she was an OnlyFans model, and if that is correct, if she literally was a naked model or whatever, then that lines up with something that I either heard from him or some other version of somebody talking about this gossip, and that is that if she is in fact a porn star, basically, who said, I want to use guns as props and have like guns be my stick or my thing that separates me from the other porn ladies, where do gun people fall on that? So if it's, in other words, if it's porn, if it's art, if it's whatever you call porn, and they're just using guns, like they still have a right to do that. If it's the NRA trying to do some sort of like tongue in cheek, is that the right word, or some sort of play on the fact that she's an OnlyFans star? I don't know if they did it poorly, if that's what they were trying to do, but that's the only way I can see justifying it, is if they're like, hey, look, you know what? We've got a real OnlyFans here to act like an OnlyFans.
One, again, it's the NRA being well behind the times, because Bonnie Rotten already did that, and was on the cover of magazines and had a freaking sponsorship from Kalishnikov USA. So they're 3 years too late for that. They did it poorly. And I don't care if she's an OnlyFans model. Hell, I support anybody who's going to use a firearm for self-defense correctly. But as she's just burning through NRA rules of firearm safety in a very short video, that pretty much I would have actually pulled her from the line and set her in the classroom and have to go over all the safety rules with her again if she was my student. They did a bad job of this. Do I think they could have done a better? I had no problem with the other videos I saw her in, because she was acting like a freaking human being with a brain. This was not something, it was done badly. It was all done badly. It was shot badly. It's a swing and a miss. And luckily, other things happened that pretty much everyone was distracted by the wins in court we had, and this went away quickly.
And it doesn't look like they doubled down on it or like continue to do it, or like we're already sold in on it or something. So it looks like they've learned a lesson.
Yeah, it's like there was no win for you here. And truthfully, I had no problem with Bonnie Rotten coming in and being a lady who was a porn star. I've never seen anything with her in it. Not that it makes a freaking difference, but I don't care. I just didn't know who she was. A heavily tattooed lady, and oh, she's married to Jesse James. Okay, cool. She's a porn star. That makes as much that is she doing something stupid? No, she was running competition with an AK, and she was looking like somebody that just got into it. Works for me. I have nothing against that. Hell, one time I saw on Frig, one of the LGBT groups. I can't think of the name of it, and I do apologize, but they had a picture of a trans porn star actually just running her Glock 26 that she carries because she has stalkers. And she was actually at the range running drills with it. That was it. Nothing, no weird posing, no anything. And just probably a warning to weirdo stalkers that she probably got, that this little person who looks like they weigh all of 125 pounds can defend themselves with the ultimate equalizer. And it wasn't sponsored by anybody. It was just this group, I guess, got a video from her social media, and they posted it up because it was somebody that I guess that's known in that circle. And I'm like, cool, that's a great way to go. Yes, the Second Amendment is for everyone. And I think that's what I put down in the comment section with my hashtag. It's like, yo, I don't care who it is. This lady can be an OnlyFans model, but come on, do better. If it's NRA, do better. And the crotch shot was ridiculous too, because it's distracting on what you did. The thing it distracted me from, actually, excuse me, it drew attention, but it drew attention to the fact that everything about this was wrong. There was a 5 straight seconds that didn't suck in that whole presentation.
No, that's the other part of it too. Like if you watch that over and over, like we just did as we're reading the comments, you're seeing that thing happen over and over. There's no part of it that's redeeming. Like it's just a bunch of dumb shit. Like it's all the cutting room floor shit that if you just said, to a novice and a new person, like go film some video, it'd be all the stuff you didn't want to use because here's what you did wrong here. We flagged the camera and people are going to like that. That's interesting. So I'm glad we brought that one up. That was one of the things that, like I say, was kind of, it's like a scratch, like or an itch or whatever. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to ask Tony because he might be aware of this or the audience or somebody, but it wasn't like I didn't even write it down, so it wasn't that.
Yeah, I love that the NRA can reach out and is willing to take chances and do things, and I'm also impressed that they didn't double down on it. Now, I saw some contact between people in the NRA board members talking, and they were like, "This is good." Baroness von Bubenstein. And they were like, "Hey, this is fine," and then it was just private conversations I know got sent in between other NRA board members going, "Yeah, this was not a win," and I don't think it is. We don't need stuff like this. We have enough, in my opinion, very attractive firearm owning females that know how to handle a firearm, that we don't have to bring in this lady to handle firearms. And my whole thing is she could have done everything correctly and worn the same outfit, and it would have been weird but cool. But no aiming, shooting, not even looking where the round is going, safety equipment off, mishandling of the firearm, all that just racked up. And then when you do the stupid crotch shot, it's like, yo.
And it doesn't, like, if it was a YouTube video, not even an issue. Like, not even conniving. But the NRA doing it is a weird part.
Yeah, and and I love that they like to immediately try to call you a name when you point out and try to, accountability they're allergic to. Well, you hate women. Oh, just shut up. It's like, oh, just shut up. Like, to the point now we're done even trying to defend ourselves against accusations. It's just like, shut up. That's just old. Shut up. Use something else. Use something else. Say I hate Sagittarius or something.
Well, shit, now that I'm looking, so I was at some before the 3 hour mark, I was going to go, oh, snap, let's stop and make one last comment or whatever so that Tony can get out of here. Because you got another podcast this afternoon to do, or this evening, whatever it is. But because we do these 4 hour marathons, I mean, nobody complains. It's not like we've ever had a comment that it's like, oh, the podcast is too long. Because I think I've noticed it when I drove, and I suspect this is the thing. People that download and listen to podcasts are looking for multiple hours worth of shit most of the time, right? Like we were just talking about, like the 20-minute ones are so frustrating. I understand it. Like the 20-minute ones fit really well in like monetizing and stuff. But anyway, we're not monetize this. I do owe you a couple of bucks because Brooke gave us some super chats last week, but we're just doing this for the sake of answering the tough questions that others are scared to address. Yep, still going, but we're wrapping it. So we can wrap it up at 3.5 hour mark, potentially. So why don't you take a couple minutes, you tell me, we started the show, we often do, with you telling us about what happened at Diversity Shoot, but why don't we end the show with what's coming up with Diversity Shoot?
So coming up at Diversity Shoot, we're going to have Diversity Shoot first Thursday of the month at Recoil Range in Monroe, New Jersey. It's going to be great. This is a newer range. It was one of the ones that opened up in 2020 that allowed me to actually keep doing diversity shoots. So come by, have some fun. We're going to have pizza. We're going to have soda, and we're going to have good times. We're going to shoot some really cool guns. What else? We have also on the 3rd, I think Thursday, we're going to be at Gun for Hire Range in Woodland Park. All these are going to go up on Diversity Shoot on our Eventbrite page, and you can get to it through diversityshoot.com. Also, I'm going to be in Washington, D.C. in September for the Women for Gun Rights rally. We have some craziness coming up at the end of September, by the way. It's going to be in freaking October, end of October. Yeah, going into September. It's going to be insane. I have a diversity shoot. And then after the diversity shoot, the very next day, Heller is coming up to Jersey, and we're gonna have him at Gun for Hire range shooting guns and signing stuff, and then that's Friday. So Thursday diversity shoot, Friday at Gun for Hire range. Saturday we're going to be in Pennsylvania with Joshua Prince and the Firearms Consulting Group, Firearm Industry Consulting Group at a machine gun shoot, and then Sunday we're going to be in the Manor in South Jersey with the Women for Gun Rights luncheon. So I'm going to be sick and tired of you Second Amendment psychos after 4 days of being with you.
I guess
And
that weekend we won't be doing a show.
yeah, no, we're not going to be not Halloween weekend. So yeah, so that's what we're doing. And my whole thing is to be a part of the Second Amendment advocacy organizations. You have to actually participate in some of these things. You have to, make people aware of it. So that's one of the things I'm trying to do. If you want to help me out and you want to support the work that we do,
Well, I'm going to interrupt and say that's the thing.
Go
It's like it'd be great if everybody participated. Practically, it's not possible, and realistically, it's just not going to happen. But
Mhm.
if you're in one of those boats where you're just not able, or you don't live in New Jersey, most of us are in that boat that we don't live there. You are able to, uh, using the capitalism's superpowers, our wallet, financially, you're able to help people who are able to get to those seats or to make it, part of their lives to get to those seats. And we all encourage and appreciate the people doing it. But again, if like 1 out of 100 people also financially supported the folks who are doing the work, um, that would be a different world. We'd have people. Oh wow, we'd have a lot of cool stuff. Then we'd have people leeches showing up, but that would be.
Mhm. It's gonna happen.
Right before you mentioned, ways that you can support diversity suit and what Sony's doing. I just wanted to say out there, yeah, there's nothing stopping you from taking $10 a month, $5 a month, $25 a month, wherever it fits for you. And Artisan Tony back in the old days came up with the 2A fund, that what it was called. And
Yep.
basically the concept was, to kind of get people to collectively throw a couple of bucks together and then use that as a grant each month to support different organizations. But there's nothing stopping a person, again, capitalist, somebody who has financial resources to do it, to take whatever works for you, like, and whatever's comfortable. $5 a month is $60 a year, right? $10 a month is $120
Wow.
a year. So, $5 a month, $10 a month, and push that towards whatever you feel is needing it this month. And if a bunch of people was doing that, 10 people, or you sending out $5 a month is $60 for you. 100 people doing that is $500 a month for the organization. So it compounds pretty quick. And once we get that, exercise that muscle, we're better off. So
Yeah, $500 a month would be freaking wow. Like it would change a lot, right?
everybody I know out there is doing this as a hobby, literally. There's a couple of people who are like in the industry and they're taking their income from the industry and diverting it back in, but that's a hobby. Like, you're not walking away with money. There's some people who are exploiting the whole thing, but they're not activists. There's only like 2 activists who are actually charlatans out there, and then like 2 organizations. But pretty much everybody else is just legit. They might be doing something you don't appreciate or something that you could care less about. Like if there was some 9mm activist or awareness activist, I wouldn't care. But I don't want them to not exist. But anyway, nobody's doing this for the money at this point.
Oh, dude, I don't think I would. All right, I'll change a couple of things, right? If I knew, I would probably immediately start the 501c3 in 2015, or at least for first anniversary, right? If I'm still, February 2016, I went, hey, I've done, I think every other month, right? I've done 6 of these. This is my 1 year. I think I'm going to keep it up. I might have started it then. I don't know how successful I would have been, but yeah, I wish I would have kicked it off then and just locked in to where I was going to go. But it had to grow. Everything I'm doing is growing organically from ideas that me and my friends are having. So didn't even think about it. It was just a hobby. Definitely never thought about making money with it at all. Um, And then it was like, we need to reach more people. So we started a podcast, and we need to speak simpler. You know what I mean? We don't have to just keep being gun people talking to gun people. We have to have it so your mom could listen and not be totally lost when we try to explain what things mean. And then we also wanted to make it entertaining enough so you can chime in and go, oh, this is about a new gun, or this is about a new thing, or a new controversy, or some training. Like, it was something there for everybody. And I did it in 15-minute segments, broken it down. So all of this was just done organically and worked to where we are now. So if you can help out, really appreciate it. I'm working this weekend on the Rumble thing because I guess some people want to see me on that. And I'm just trying to do everything and relaunch to use this momentum from this video that came out that are people watching. Oh, and by the way, if you watch my video on Simon Says Train on Instagram, where you can find us, it's the video that I did and brought in GOA on it. It's 3 minutes long. The reason it's 3 minutes long, it's a 5-minute speech that I had to speed up to reach into that 3-minute time frame, because after 3 minutes, Instagram won't show it to non-followers. Like, it won't show up in the non-followers feed. So for me to get it under 3 minutes, it had to be hard hitting, and it had to be at chipmunk speed. That's also why I did closed caption with it, so you can read along if you can't follow me, or just watch it again until you pick up on it.
He's covering up. He was doing meth the whole time. That's what he was talking, like, to hold the goals.
yeah, that's how I was talking the entire time. Hey, G, how's it going? I'm glad to see you at the range, buddy.
I gotta go upstairs. I'm like, Tony, you just ran up. I gotta go up. I'll find the thing downstairs.
That would be great. That would be hilarious. No, that's the way he speaks all the time.
Come back like, I lost 60 pounds of gold.
yeah, that food in Iowa didn't really hit. That's because you were on crank, bro. But yes, so please watch it. Please share it. If you can afford to donate, please do go to diversityshoot.com. We have the PayPal. We have the Patreon. We also have a Venmo. We also have a Venmo. So you can help us out. Really appreciate it, because just $1 goes. $1's cool. If you can do more, fine. Also, I'm going to use AI to figure out how to do some giveaways that can bring more people in. And I may even do specific giveaways for stuff, or maybe do a timetable. Who the hell knows? I just have to figure out a way to get more money coming in before we launch in 2027, because already NRA in April, Freedom Fest in Florida and Tampa in February. August is definitely going to be Tampa again for GOA. I'll probably be at Train and Learn in Atlanta on Memorial Day, and the year ain't even started yet. And also, we're going to be, 2 a month diversity shoots. I may lower that, bro, because it's killing us without an ammo sponsor. It's really becoming difficult to host 2 events a month. We're almost out of 9mm, and my guys are providing their own 9 at this point. So if you can help, one way to help is to contact the ranges we're going to be at. And if you want to buy a case, if you want to buy a box, I don't care. You can send it care of the range and tell them to hold on to it for Tony Simon for the diversity shoot. That helps. I mean, if you can do that, that'll be awesome. Any way you can help out, we'd really appreciate it. Diversityshoot.com if you want to help out. Simon Says Train on Instagram. Second for everyone on X. And Tony Simon, or the second is for everyone on Facebook. Thank you very much for listening to me babble, and also for the conversation in the chat.
Exactly. Yeah, we had a pretty good conversation. We're a pretty lively group today. Lots of people out there, and scrolling. I don't think I can do justice to all the people that said hey. And we're on 3 different platforms, so we're doing pretty good with the Twitch. So, wait, you're saying you're going to Rumble or Twitch?
Rumble. I don't even know about Twitch. If I should go to Twitch, I'll go to Twitch. I'm just gonna have to pick the name.
Video game one. It's like for kids more, I guess. It's for like the video game, but they do live stuff there. The reason I like Twitch is the thing I use to broadcast. I can just push a button and I'm on Twitch. But if I go to Rumble, I have to do extra shit. So it's just easier for me to click Twitch. That's the only reason I use it. But
okay.
Anyway, an alternative platform I think is worth the time. I'm not going to say like we should all leave XYZ and go to other one, but having testing every once in a while, and then just having that skill set of understanding how the different platforms work. Because like right now, like what I'm saying, Rumble is a pain in the ass. What if I'm wrong? What if it's changed? You go over there and test it out, and next time we talk, because I don't think it's next week, right? But whenever next time we talk, you're like, oh no, Rumble's super easy. Like that's how we figure it out. So I'm glad that you're checking it out, but I'm curious, I guess, to hear how it works for you.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that have left YouTube, went to Rumble, brought their audiences with them, and just because they don't listen to me on Rumble doesn't mean they're not going to listen to you on Rumble. So you might find, massive audience over there that you don't have on YouTube because maybe your audience left YouTube.
Maybe. I see people. Is Tumblr a thing, or is Rumble?
I think you're mixing Rumbler and Twitch now.
Oh,
or no,
I don't know.
because
Anyway.
Tumblr was, I think, an image one. Like that's an old.
Oh, well, yeah. My bad. Yeah, you're right. Rumble and Twitch, I'm conflating into something that's old. But my whole thing is, I want to be able to reach people, and if I can do it for free, it's better. I paid. I caught the sale on X for the blue check mark, and I have to exploit whatever I can on there. I don't know if I can go live, but I know I can write articles, and I may start doing that again too. Hopefully, people
you can go live. Yes, I quit the blue X's on Twitch or on X or whatever it's called now because they screwed with me. Both of my channels really, but my one channel they banned it for like weeks and I couldn't do nothing. And I was like, why am I paying you $7 a month or whatever it is for you to like ignore me when I basically screwed up and had like a robot automatically post stuff, and that violated their terms of service by just posting too many videos at once. And I was like, it's a robot messed up. Like, come on, we can't like screw up. Like, we can't make a mistake. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not evil. I just had a robot glitch and post like 17 videos on one day, and your limit was like 15, whatever it was. So anyway, and then it took me like months before, it seems like months, maybe it was weeks, but whatever. It was enough where I'm like, you know what? I'm not paying any of these other services. And I was paying X twice because I was paying for both of my accounts to have an X. And I'm like, what do I gain from this? Like, one, I don't really like Facebook, but at least on Facebook, there's like everybody in the world is on Facebook, so there's a variety of shit. And on YouTube, same thing. I don't really love YouTube anymore at all, but everybody in the world is on YouTube, so at least you got a variety. If you go on X, now mine might be wrong, and it might just be the way they're feeding me, but all I get is people that are angry about politics. From both sides, of course, but like people that are bitching about each other about politics. I don't watch sports, and I don't really, I watch guns. That's it. But it's so much bleed over. Like they're constantly. If I just try to scroll X, it's like people that hate each other, people that hate each other, people that are bitching about each other, people that are yelling at each other. And I'm like, I don't want to see this. Like, I'm not interested in this. And it's not that much better on the other ones, but on the other ones, it'll be like somebody dancing around, somebody cooking something. Somebody showing you something in the garden, like, you know what I mean? Like somebody doing something else besides bitching about politics.
That's funny because I blow through X so fast. Like I'll see something from Alicia or you or anybody, and I'll hit heart, and I'll just keep moving. Like I sometimes won't even read it.
I monitor it is what I ended up doing, and I quit doing.
Yep. I saw Dr. Yamato, Professor. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, that sucked. But anyway, I saw he was doing something, and I reshared it, and I was like, hey, help those out that are actually in the fight, bringing other people with different perceptions into the community, or at least introducing them. This is what he do. You don't have to, my whole thing is you don't have to agree what he does, but he's bringing new eyes to this thing, and it's up to us how we act. Anyway, so I thought that was cool, and I just kept it moving. It's like, I'm promoting the people that are actually doing work, and the hate stuff, I skim right over. I fly by like it ain't even there. To me, it's just smoke, and you walk through it.
No, I hear you. And it's like, I agree that at least I believe a lot of it is bots, people that are, I used to think it was like 14-year-old kids who just, when you're 14, at least when I was a kid, like it's like crank calling. Like, you know that you can get a rise out of adults by just doing something stupid in front of them. And you get a laugh out of it. You and your friends look at each other and go, ha, we got them all pissed. We have no intention of doing this, but we're going to say we are. so that they get all pissed and we can laugh about it, and then it's over and we're now eating a lollipop or whatever. So I used to think it was just kids getting a rise out of people on the internet, but I really think there's a reason that bots do it now. Like, entities out there, state entities have a reason to do it, and they screw with people. And if they really want to do it, like if their job is to get, and sometimes it's just to get more likes or more hits on their content or whatever. But if that's their goal, like I want to get as many likes as I can, or hate speech comments as I can, whatever you want to say, like they're gonna put effort into figuring out just the right thing to say to piss off as many people as possible. And it's almost like that's what they're perfecting. It's like how to get the rise out of you fast as possible. Anyway,
And it's gosh.
yeah,
By the way, did I tell you what I did? So at my diversity shoots, I talk to people about these bots and the fact that it's part of programming. It's part of almost marketing divisiveness. I'm like, they do it and you think you're not affected by it, but you 100% are affected by it. And you just have to pay attention to what's happening. They want, and most people can agree. It's like you're sitting in this room and you don't agree with everything 100% of the people in the room was, but you have an overall same perspective on most things. And then I introduce CNJFO and they come up and they talk about things, and I step out and get behind the audience and put on my Make Guns Great Again hat that's in the same font as Make America Great Again. And then when he turns the class back over to me, I walk up front with it, and I was like, this is one of my favorite hats to wear, and I really enjoy wearing this hat. And I'm looking at everybody's face, and I'm like, how many of you saw the hat and made up your mind immediately what it said before you just read the 4 words on it? And it provoked feelings in you.
Yeah.
And I was like, and that's how the marketing worked. You already had your mind either changed about me or verified about me when you saw this hat because you didn't read it. I was like, and it works on all of us. And I was like, so we have to actually actively fight back against this BS, because this is being used to tear us apart and separate us so they know that we're not a problem, or we're going to all break apart. You know what I mean? We're not going to stand together. And that's why I'm here, and that's why I host diversity shoots, not to separate us with the word diversity, but to bring us together.
Yeah, to practice that together, or hanging out, so that
yeah. 8 strong together. 8 strong together. I'm just saying. It's a message that's been there, bro. All right.
Well, we said we're going to end it, and then we ended up bullshitting again. But that's what happens. So
I gotta go, man. I'm hungry.
We're not even charging anybody for that extra bit.
Yeah, I gotta eat because we're gonna be up with Jared Yaris from.
Oh yeah, that's right. This week. It's gonna be good.
Yeah. So we're gonna have him on the podcast as I goof on him, call him names, and hold up my new coffee sponsor, since he didn't help out with his coffee company. So it's not like I've been asking him for 3 years and he just never got around to it. So guys, if you want to enjoy a great brew of Second Amendment coffee, go to the American Roaster, because they're helping us out. So check them out, and just know that they actually help into A4E do what we do. And I really appreciate it, man.
What's nice about coffee is that it's some kind of thing you can give as a gift too. So,
Yep.
I'm going to play the intro, so actually it's